Yeah. Vanglorious Vanguard.
Knowledge born.
Yeah.
United Front.
Tell it.
What you want.
To the Knowledge Radio.
We in here. What you got? Dot.
Work hard as a slave to one day be your savior. The wave unwavering. This is a labor of love. Rise with a purpose every day. Invigorated. If we were on TV, we'd be 10 times syndicated. If we waited for validation, a paycheck or accolades, we'd be starved, already lost or ran away. But when you're square, solid, and you circle too, you don't need a place for silence. The concept is conquered through media, not areas of people activity. A mix that don't lose ethnicity, tightness that don't lose the elasticity. Explicitly, this isn't where we give the novice regard. Nah, this is where knowledge is born. Last time that I checked, I'm undefeated. Deliver edicts, can't resist when the gods build and manifest freedom. When lines get crossed, they may push a loss, cause they get handed a check. We kick your can and cancel your cancerous gestures. A prophet vision, precision, the prescription for the sickness is to inoculate your fate with the winning. Arrogant beginnings turn to humble endings. And US with KBA is a win-win. 1K.
They say it takes a village to raise a child. Now, us as parents, when we send our kids out into society and off to school, we're not always necessarily there to provide that extra security blanket, to be that extra sense of security for our children. This is where the KJ13 Anti-Bullying Inc. comes into play. It provides extra knowledge. It gives extra outlets. They do food drives. So for any information that you may have, please contact King James 13 Anti-Bullying Inc. INC, that is, at gmail.com, or contact 463-333-2268 today for all information.
Well, it's no shine in the tail.
Snapping off film.
I'm affiliated.
This video is under fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act in 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or purpose use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All rights and credit go directly to its rightful owners. No copyright infringement intended. Enjoy. Oh yeah. On your way out, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, man. This is the Argument League. Turn up.
Yerb, you already know what it is, man. This boy Swab snapping off AOI SVDL Argument League, a whole bunch of Black Power shit. Shout out to the family, man. Bingo on the track, Z on the can. That's snapping off film. Shout out to Solar Mind, the commissioner, Solar Vision Debate League, the greatest debate league in the world on the debate league on YouTube. Shout out to Knowledge Born Allah, do the Knowledge Radio, Knowledge Born Allah. Shout out to the AOI, that's Gold Man, Brandon Bay, Wicked Radical, Ampu, Pro Black, Holleigh. Shout out to Holleigh, man. Ground Zero, Hurricane Katrina, the King James 13 Anti-Bully Inc. Shout out to the judges, the peers, the reason we here, the people of SVDL, man. Hit that like button on y'all way in. Shout out to Karate, the introvert. Shabo, Tequila is in the building. Shout out to Keith Robinson saying, what's the debate topic? Can you utilize the system to overthrow the government? Shout out to y'all, man. Hit that like button. Share, subscribe, unsubscribe, subscribe again, unlike it, like it again. Yeah, that's what we on, man. It's another day, the Argument League. So this is the pre-debate show for Holleigh and Ahrataza on the conversation of can the justice system be used to overthrow the government? So we're going to get it down on that one. Tomorrow we got the debate: True Justice versus KOT. Is the Earth a cone or a sphere? So that should be informative. Hope they ready. Hope they studied for that one. And yeah, I don't see shit else, man. That'll be the January schedule, and I haven't got that. How World versus Ahrataza in the politics? Don't know. Yeah, yeah. It's I don't know. Can the justice system be used to overthrow the government, man? That's the conversation they having. Let me put that link out there in case y'all need to jump on a panel. Hopefully, we get some peers up here and get it in. Rap, rap, pasty, hasty, chat. And let me pin that. Is my mic nice? Y'all already know what it is. Bro. True justice is in the building. Ain't no question who about to kill him. Shout out to True Justice holding it down on his side of town. One of SVDL's own got a debate coming up, or so I see, unless he's hitting the panel to tell us it's not going down, which I hope that's not what he's doing. Hopefully he's coming up here to interact with the people and talk a little shit and give y'all reason to want to see his debates. Shout out to you too.
Hey, Flaw, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. How you doing today? Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing? Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm lagging. I'm gonna come back.
Oh, crap. I can hear you though. Well, he has to leave and come back. Shout out to Pro Black Politics, man. And whoever this fake Pro Black is that's rolling around YouTube, we got a Pro Black Politics already, man. We got a Pro Black already. That's too close to Pro Black Politics. But even though the general people do have to pay attention to that, there's a difference between Pro Black, and Pro Black Politics. Pro Black Politics is a member of the AOI. Pro Black is a member of.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you. What's good, bro? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Suave? Hey, I just want to say, man, there's a mistake on the title you read for Mio KOT. KOT actually thinks it's a flat Earth, and it's not. He doesn't think it's a cone. He thinks it's actually flat. So just to correct that.
Oh, okay. So you got you a flat Earth debate. That's what you're telling me?
Yeah, he's a flat earther, man. I just gotta like check him, you know.
Yeah, you gotta check you, man. You around here with that misinformation. I was finna start doing a flat Earth series, man, because it's so fucking many people out there that's really giving this shit credit.
Well, hey, man, you did a good job on your last debate, you know.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So go ahead.
I think you're going to appreciate this debate, man, because it's custom built for anybody going outside of the paradigm of a circle Earth. So these are very customly picked arguments here.
Yeah, I fucks with that. I like that. Well, it will be nice to sit back and be a spectator of the flat Earth debate. You know, it was fun debating it, but I'm gonna be glad. I'm gonna be appreciative. It's gonna be very valuable to me to sit back and watch you and KOT do your thing.
How do you feel about this CGI argument they have against us?
What you mean? I haven't heard. Oh, the photos.
Yeah.
I mean, all you have to do is explain actually what the CGI process is, because when people say it's a computer generated image, they think you start off with nothing and then you create everything in a picture. But if you take a photo with your phone, that's a computer generated image. It's depicting what's actually there, but it highlights certain things. It drowns the light in the background down so you can see the forefront. It evens the lights, it evens the colors, it does things to the picture that alters it, but it doesn't place things in the picture or move things out. It's just all lighting and contrast and color. Even
Well, I
when you
guess
go, I'm sorry.
the Chinese satellite does take actual photos of the Earth, but I guess the argument they're trying to say is like, so it'll take ultralight, and it'll take a visual, just plain picture, but they put them together, and then that's what they're presenting to us, which is true. But I don't see how that invalidates the picture if it's just
No,
in different colors. You feel me?
it don't. It doesn't. They just, want to show. They want to show doubt and cause distrust in NASA's information. And so it's like if you didn't know something and then you found it out, you're lied to. No, because NASA didn't come out and say, explain to you what computer generated images was. The news doesn't, even though they use it. Your phone doesn't, even though it uses it. But like they like, yeah, this is something you should have told me up front. You lied about this. Like, no, computer generated images does not mean just creating a full picture out of nowhere, man. That's crazy as hell. So yeah, that's
It was
hard.
tripping me out because I was watching on YouTube by this white dude, man. I guess he was like traveling around the earth for a month on end in the space, in a little space station out there,
Uh huh.
doing his watch. And I was just thinking how stupid flat earthers sound, to him. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Like like that got to be like, oh yeah, it's one thing for us down here on the ground, right, to look at the evidence and the information, but someone who's actually in the space station, someone who actually, fucking what's the football player dude had the gap, got his gap tooth fixed. Michael Strahan, he just went up into space. So it's like once you see the Earth is a sphere, and then you come back down, and it's people down here saying it's flat. It kind of separates you from humanity. It kind of lets just in this department, some people just don't get it. They just don't get it, and it's weird to me. It's weird to me. Only
I guess they
person I
said,
know that I deem is sensible that feels the Earth is flat that I know of is Yashar. Like Yashar is logical to me as hell,
how is
but
that
he
logical?
hold on one second.
No, that's not logical at all. Ishard, that's not.
No,
There's
I
no
said
way.
the only logical person I know that says the Earth is flat is Yashar.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, isn't that a contradiction?
Uh, yeah,
Well,
that's
like I
why
was
I'm
gonna say,
conflicted with it.
well, I was thinking on the psychological part. I guess they were saying that people that believe in flat Earth, they, it's a part of them. That lie is like it's a part of who they are. I don't know how to
Mm.
break that down to you, but that's what I guess the analyzation is on that psychologically. Uh, because you got to be not logical to believe in a flat Earth because
Yeah,
of all the evidence we're speaking of, right?
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, well,
yeah. That's
uh,
why I'm interested in knowing what makes him um lean on the flat Earth. But everybody else, I can see why they leaning on it. Like nigga, you just playing a bush and you stupid anyway. But yeah,
Nah, I think KLT actually does. You know, he probably thinks something's there. And
Yeah, but KLT is crazy anyway. He believe in aliens but KLT believe in everything. If it's an old ass writing about it, he believe that shit.
I don't know, man. I don't know why you put that lifestyle on him like that, but I do see flat earthers to be not very meticulous when it comes to certain arguments. When it gets down to the nitty gritty, quote unquote. So that's another way why I customize this debate. So it's for everybody on YouTube, man. Just these three arguments that I'm gonna be putting. You know, it's going to universally cut anything that's outside, any square, cone, flat Earth, any of that. You know, that debate tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be the debate on Solar Vision Debate League.
Man, make sure y'all tune in. There's so many motherfucking birds in the backyard right now, man. It's a bunch, hundreds of black birds, big ass black crow looking ass birds. I want to get my other camera catch it. Let me see.
Hey man, they here for that KLT flat Earth funeral, man.
Facts.
They letting you know.
He said he finna get KLT out of here. Hey,
It's gonna be
death. Man, for real, True Justice, man. True Justice defending the globe Earth up against the flat Earth. And the debate topic is the Earth a sphere or flat? So it ain't like you just gotta go up there and knock everything he said. Let me see if let me see. There's so many of them motherfuckers back there, man.
What's the debate tonight?
Tonight is tonight it's can you use the justice system to overthrow the government?
Can you?
The justice system? No, because I look at it as part of the government.
What if I sue the government on a multi-root level, you know, and like a hustle, you know, like the PPP loan, but it's like a hustle, like and we use that money to try to gain freedom. What about that scenario?
So if you actually use the judicial system to sue the United States for $1 billion and then use that $1 billion to build you a war machine and overthrow the government.
Yeah.
Look at Justice thinking. He thinking. Holleigh say she ain't going for that shit.
There's an argument for you, man. It's one. But there's so many arguments against that. So know that. You probably won't have luck.
It's a bunch of them motherfuckers back there. That's what's up. That's hard. That's hard. That's hard. Shout out to True Justice, man. Putting them wheels together. Getting them turning. Say, well,
hey, man. Let me tell you something, Suave. Idea came to me earlier, and on Pro Back to Politics, the show he did earlier about the whole blockchain thing. And hey, man, if we code it up on a coin or something like that, as black people in the whole world, and then we made it popular and it drove up, everybody that initially invested in it would get rich. And we just have a whole bunch of rich black people, you know? It's a little side idea.
Hard. Call it the nigga coin.
Yeah, man, the black coin or something like that.
Yeah, nah, that's hard.
Akon coin. For real.
Nah, that's hard. That's hard. And then, ooh, shit. See, the Israelites can get a Yahweh coin. What? Uh-oh.
Because that's how it works. That's how it works. It's kind of like a pyramid scheme, you feel me? So,
Moon flower in the building. Yeah. Yeah, that's how it works. So we need to go ahead and hustle up on a little bit of programming, get us a coin going, and gaffle the world.
Well, I was thinking somehow. This is gonna go deeper. My little idea goes deeper, man. I was
Right?
thinking somehow we could get like the poor people to invest second. You know, we all invest first, then we start pushing poor people outside the race second. Then once the rich fat cats see that it's getting real big, they'll start dumping money, and that's just when we all sell on them. You feel me?
That's what's up. Yeah, I'm digging that. Digging that, man. True Justice. I fuck with that idea right there. That's a nice.
I man, some rich people might not care. They might just, just let us have that. You never know.
That's a fact. Okay, let me see. I got Holley's premise. Let me see. It says this debate is about can the justice system be used to overthrow the government? And I say no. I will show you truth in my argument by using the Constitution, Cornell Law Library, the U.S. courts, and the Bill of Rights. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is. Let me see. And I got the premise from Joseph Israel for our debate. This nigga sent it in some weird ass form. Let me see. Oh, he said it in a PowerPoint slide or some shit. Let me see. But our debate is, are the biblical holidays any better than American holidays? Are the biblical holidays better than American holidays?
No, it's
Let
just,
me see.
I think that's a silly argument, man. I don't know.
Do you think it is?
Yeah, because how are you gonna prove that? Like, which is better? I don't understand that part.
Man. And that's why I'm not saying American holidays are better. I'm just saying biblical holidays ain't any better than American holidays. Like they're
Yeah,
holidays.
by what standard it's better, right?
Facts. My opponent argument is that look what he did. Now look what this dude did, man. See, this is why I don't debate niggas that don't come on the panel. Now, anybody who watched this show yesterday know that I told this boy what the debate was. This nigga came in his premise, and this how you know motherfuckers be on bullshit. And then y'all be slow. This nigga started his premise off saying my opponent argument is. This nigga premise said my opponent argument is that American holidays is better than the Bible's holidays, holy days. My question is how? Something my opponent will have to prove based on the racism brutal mentality that America has displayed amongst blacks. None of these holidays have nothing related to our black ancestry. MLK is my opponent's only shot at an argument. Our holiday fits into a month. I will prove the Bible has black holidays celebrated by our ancestors. There's no way we can keep celebrating holidays that represent their history. I say we should have our own holidays. Since we can't get America, let's at least carve a slice for us too. Empowering ourselves has to be a start. Now, this is fully like, I should cancel this debate with this dude, man. This is slow. Joseph, where you at? Now, I could play. I got it recorded yesterday. I could play the part where I said, I'm not saying American holidays are better. He asked me, are the biblical holidays better than American holidays? I said, no. They're no better than American holidays. And I explained that to him yesterday. And he still sat in his premise and tried to tell the judges what my argument was. See, man, this is the type of shit make me want to slap the fuck out of niggas, dog. I can't. I
Did
just
you,
hate being around slow people.
did you see the last debate with Yashar and how crazy that was during the rapid
Oh
fire round?
yeah, that was wild right there,
Yeah,
man.
you don't want another one of those.
Facts, facts. Let me send my shit in right now. Oh wow, this is crazy. Sorry. Hey, man. I guess I'll throw on a debate, man. Let y'all listen to that rock out or something to the debate. Let's see if we can find us a good true justice debate right quick. Let's see if we can find us a good little true justice debate right quick.
You got that? Hey, you got that debate I did with
With Unc?
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me see. Just in case. Let me see. This definitely was last year, right? Last year.
Yeah.
Early last year. True Justice and Aunt Pooh. True Justice and the Brothers. Oh, blood. Oh, I don't see it. Hold on. Let me look again. Right quick. Nope, I don't see it.
Wow, that's shocking. Well, what about the one with Ampu was too?
Okay, bad.
All right, man, I'm gonna go, man. Thanks, Wall.
All right, for sure. Shout out to True Justice, man. Make sure y'all come through with that debate for the debate against KOT, man. Flat Earth, Globe Earth. Shout out to True Justice. And then you know what I want to do after that? I want to watch Holleigh debate. That's right. The one that just happened up against Rio. We're gonna see what's up. Do 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 do. Man, I don't know why you ain't host the show yet, man. You got the email, don't you? You got the manager, don't you? Thought you fuck with me. Thought you fuck with me. Do do do. Just in case he's not all that he seems. This nigga Chris still got man. Just in case. What's your email, Moses? What's your email, Moses? Shout out to Scar Beauty, man, Malik, Rainbow, Moses, Moonfly, Holleigh, YouTube Street, shout out my butterflies, peace to y'all, peace to y'all, peace to y'all. Hit that like button, I appreciate it. Baby, come back to me. Yeah. Okay, here we go. All right, appreciate it. I'm finna send you that right now. A G to a motherfucking key. Don't fuck with. Oh yeah.
With solar bitch, whole court and a witness, nobody know this missing. I'm my own judge, jury, and the co-defendant. It ain't an idol if it's solar image. Get to the core, my nigga, no pretending. Hotter than Jamie Foxx on a solar mission. Melchizedek, no beginning nor an ending.
I don't know what happened to that email. Hold on, let me see if I got a type. That dot supposed to be in it.
Family, what's good? What's good? What's good? This is your boy Suleiman, and I am here live, family. So when you come in the building, hit the like button. Hit the like button when you come in the building, family. This should be a good one tonight. We got True Justice returning after his battle with Uncle Cat. He is facing off against one of the top debaters in the league. He goes by the name of Brother Anpu. So this should be a good one tonight, family. So if you're about that debate life, this is where you want to be. We're going to kick off the month of February with a very interesting debate. It will be between Rabbi Lewis and Outside the Cube. So make sure you be in the building for that. Just taking a quick glance at the schedule. Whoa. We got a few debates lined up for the month of February, and it goes as follows. Good God, Allah will be squaring off against Last Vortex on February the 6th. So make sure you be in the building for that. Did MLK work for the best interest of the devil? All right. Make sure you be in the building for that. That looks like a very interesting debate. On the 8th, we're going to have Akmalak. He will be squaring off against Minister Howe. Is worshiping on Sunday, breaking the commandments. That'll be on the 21st. I'm sorry, that's on the 21st. Minister Howe will be squaring off against Akmalak. Is worshiping on Sunday, breaking the commandments. So make sure you be in the building for that. On February the 8th will be Domo and Blue. What had more leverage in the civil rights movement? Love or the threat of military resistance? And we got about another 14 other debates that I set up. So if you're about that debate life, this is where you want to be. We're going to get right into this. We're running a little late. So let me introduce tonight's debaters. What's going on, brother? True Justice.
Shalom, shalom. All glory. Shout out to the hey, Solar.
All right, and we got brother Anpu in the building, the quiet assassin. What's going on?
What's going on, Solar? Shout out to you. Shout out to my opponent. Shout out to the chat. This gonna be a good one. I hope y'all got y'all pens and pad ready. We finna deal with this topic, man. Hotep.
All right, hotep. All right, so we're going with a standard format for tonight's debate. That'll be a 5-minute opening, a 10-minute premise, a 10-minute rebuttal, 10 minutes of beats for the rapid fire round, and a 5-minute closing. Anpu is set to go first, so we're gonna go ahead and set the timer for 5 minutes and pass the rock over to Anpu. It is on you, brother, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Pulling up my screen share. Just a second. The screen share up. Say open it, big bro. The screen share working, fam?
Yes, sir. The screen share is up, brother.
Okay. All right, let's go. Okay, so the title of tonight's debate is, should black people fight for sovereignty in America? And my position is no. Now, you may be wondering why I would take this position. After all, sovereignty in America for black people sounds like a good idea, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to take control from the American government over themselves and then self-determine their future as they see fit? But the concept, which we will discuss in this debate, is much more intricate and detailed than this simple idea of self-governance. My opponent, for reasons that I cannot fully comprehend, believes not simply that black people should be sovereign, but that black people should fight for this sovereignty within the confines of American territory. It is this caveat of the sovereignty discussion, this caveat being sovereignty here in America, which I will dismantle and expose as a complete and utter waste of time for black people to pursue. Our intelligence, resources, and time would be better spent addressing our concerns and issues as a collective in other ways. Now, this topic of sovereignty is complex subject matter. It will be impossible for me to fully unpack it within the time frame of this debate, so I'm going to simplify my position as much as possible while still giving you guys the credible and sourced material to support my premise. In essence, my opponent is offering you fool's gold. His concept of sovereignty in America looks like a solution, sounds like a solution, and feels like a solution, but only on the surface. Once we inspect his position further, it will be exposed for its lack of intrinsic value, and I will show you that it is ultimately a waste of time. So in my premise, I will be focusing on 3 main points. 1, what is sovereignty? 2, how does a population gain sovereignty? And 3, I will be addressing the pitfalls to black people obtaining sovereignty in America. I'm going to be defining the term sovereignty using the Merriam-Webster dictionary, and I will explain what this term means within the context of this debate. I will source an article from livescience.com, which summarizes a 3-step process to a population becoming sovereign. And I will also introduce the audience to something called the Montevideo Convention on the Rights and Duties of States, which was adopted in 1933. And I will explain its relevance to this debate. I will be sourcing the official website for the United Nations and showing that the UN cannot grant anyone sovereignty. I will also be sourcing a legal case known as Texas versus White, which will show that states within the United States cannot secede and become sovereign. I will also be sourcing a statement made by the late Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, which highlights the idea of secession being fool's gold. By the end of this presentation, it will be clear that the idea of Black people gaining sovereignty here in America is, like I said, the equivalent of fool's gold. It looks like a solution, sounds like a solution, feels like a solution, but unfortunately, it is not a solution. My opponent is trying to convince you to waste your time chasing nonsense, but tonight, I will be the vanguard for logic and reasoning. I will prove that whether you like it or not, there is no sovereignty to be had here in America. You will either participate in the American government like all other American citizens or expatriate and move somewhere else. In fact, if anyone wants to create a sovereign nation, their time would be better spent establishing said sovereignty elsewhere because it's just not happening in America. So, should Black people fight for sovereignty in America? No. And I'm going to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt tonight. Thank you for listening. I'll be back in my premise round. Hotel, I'm pulled out.
All right. Shout out to, Lord have mercy. Shout out to Brother Ampu for that opening. We're going to hand this thing now over to True Justice. It is on you, True Justice. Whenever you're ready, you have 5 minutes for your opening, brother.
All right, you guys, I just want to make sure that you guys understand that I'm not talking about a physical fight, that I'm talking about a striving, okay? And that there's a difference in different types of sovereignty, different types of political terms, different levels, okay? So in my premise today, I'll be showing why Black people should strive for sovereignty, why by showing the systemic issues like unfair incarceration and education, unfair political representations, and unfair economic situations. By me showing these quote unquote installed systemic issues, my argument tonight is that it's grounds for a call of sovereignty. And I like to go into the definition of sovereignty, which is the authority of a state to govern itself or another state. We could declare independence here in America with clarity and to be very audible about it, so as to where the whole world will notice. The media platform will launch us to being able to have the ability to go international. Okay. Getting our own parliament and making referendum or whatnot. But that's the only way out of a installed systemic issue, okay? To fight against unfair jail systems and police violence and an unfair education system and fight against justification, okay? Everybody else in this country makes it but us, okay? White people have no intentions to help Black people, okay? There are no 80 acres in a mill. It's just a carrot, a reparations carrot at the end of a stick that they're trying to get Black people to chase. Okay. Also, they'll let some Black people slip through the cracks, but it's just to keep a false sense of fairness. Okay. We're not from here. Okay. And they came and got us. Therefore, sovereignty should have already been established for us. Okay. But like I said, my main argument tonight is that I'll be going over the incarceration, education, political representation, and the unfair economic situations tonight. Okay. All right. Thank you, Solar.
All right, shout out to the league. We will be back right after this brief intermission. This is the Solar Vision Debate League.
Yeah.
Vanglorious Vanguard.
Knowledge born.
Yeah.
United Front.
Tell it.
What you want.
To the Knowledge Radio.
We in here. What
Yo.
you got? Dot.
Work hard as a slave to one day be your savior. The wave unwavering. This is a labor of love, rise with a purpose every day, invigorated. If we were on TV, we'd be 10 times syndicated. If we waited for validation, a paycheck or accolades, we'd be starved, already lost or ran away. But when you're square, solid, and your circle too, you don't need a place for silence. The concept is conquered through media, not areas of people activity. A mix that don't lose ethnicity, tightness that don't lose elasticity. Explicitly, this isn't where we give the novice regard. Nah, this is where knowledge is born. Last time that I checked, I'm undefeated. Deliver edicts, can't resist when the gods build and manifest freedom. When lines get crossed, they may push a loss, cause they get handed a check. We kick a can and cancel your cancerous gestures. A prophet vision, precision, the prescription for the sickness is to inoculate your fate with the winning. Arrogant beginnings turn to humble endings. And US with KBA is a win-win. 1K, 1K.
This is the Solar Vision Debate League. We are now heading into the premise round, family. We're going to start out with Brother Ampu. And Brother Ampu, it is on you. You have 10 minutes to do your thing whenever you're ready, brother.
Okay, I just hit my screen share. If you just let me know if my screen share up, fam.
Yeah, in one quick second while I set the timer. And yes, we're gonna go ahead and share the brother's screen. So the screen is sharing right now, brother. Whenever you're ready, you can begin.
Okay, let's go. All right, family. I want y'all to buckle up because I'm going to be moving. Should black people fight for sovereignty in America? Like I said, no. So let's address this thing. What is sovereignty? In order to understand this debate and follow the conversation, we have to define the term. Sovereignty is supreme power, especially over a body politic. Sovereignty is freedom from external control. Sovereignty is autonomy. Autonomy is self-governance. Sovereignty is controlling influence. So when we're talking about sovereignty for black people in America, we're talking about black people in America governing themselves without interference from the American government. So how does a population gain sovereignty with that understanding of what sovereignty is within the context of this debate? Step one, they would have to declare independence. To establish a new country, the country must first satisfy the international laws and rules that all free countries generally acknowledge and follow, set forth by what? By the Montevideo Convention on the Rights and Duties of States, adopted in 1933. Remember, step one, declare independence. Step two, gain recognition. In order to be legitimate, a new country must be recognized by existing states within the international community. And step three, join the United Nations. Now, in all honesty, you don't have to join the United Nations, but being admitted into the UN goes a long way toward a new country becoming recognized by the International Convention. So let's start at step one, declaring independence. According to the Montevideo Convention on the Rights and Duties of States, Article 1 says, the state as a person is the sovereign nation that you are trying to create. The state as a person of international law should possess the following qualifications. It must have a permanent population. That seems easy enough because my opponent is proposing that the permanent population is black people in America. But here's where it gets tricky. The state as a person must also have a clearly defined territory. So if we're talking about sovereignty for black people in America, we're talking about black people all relocating to a central location, a specific territory with defined borders. You can't be in Texas, Oklahoma, California, New York. You have to be in a specific territory. This is problematic because any territory in America is already under the control of the American government. So you have to figure out a way to seize control of that territory from the American government so that you can govern yourself. It gets even more tricky when you realize that the state as a person must have a government. Now, I don't know what form of government my opponent is proposing that this new nation has, but I do know he claims to be an Israelite. So I'm assuming that maybe he wants to construct a constitution based on the Torah, have some type of priesthood maybe, which officiates the government of a theocratic society where the God of the Bible is the ultimate authority. That in and of itself is going to be very, very problematic. But let's get into it, family. Let's look at the pitfalls to Black people obtaining sovereignty in America now that we have a basic understanding of what it looks like. I want to refer to a legal case called Texas v. White. This took place shortly after the Civil War. Now, the case in and of itself isn't really important. It's the conclusion of the court. The court further held that individual states could not unilaterally secede from the Union. Anybody with a basic understanding of American history knows about the Civil War, and the cause of the Civil War was the Confederate States trying to secede from the Union and become their own government. And there was an entire war fought behind it. Now, in the aftermath of that, Texas had a lawsuit with White, and the court held that a state could not unilaterally secede from the Union. So even though you can have a permanent population of Black people in America that relocate to a specifically defined territory and come up with some kind of quasi-government to rule and officiate over them, you will now run into another brick wall because you will not be able to secede from the United States and make that state sovereign. The courts have already ruled on this. But let's go a little further, family. This is Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, or former Supreme Court Justice. He was a Supreme Court Justice of the United States from 1986 until his death in 2016. But why is Ampu bringing him up? In a letter dated October 31st, 2006, he is quoted as saying, if there was any constitutional issue resolved by the Civil War, it is that there is no right to secede. So you cannot go to the Supreme Court to secede and become a sovereign nation. You cannot petition the Constitution because the Constitution of the United States has no clause for succession of a state. So how does my opponent propose to get a sovereign status for this group of Black people who have relocated to this specific territory in America? He can't get it through the courts. He can't get it through the Constitution. He already said that he couldn't get it through a physical fight, which is good because this is the most well-funded military in the history of the world. If you try to wrest a territory from the American government by force, you will be slaughtered. But just for the sake of the debate, let's pretend that you could fight the American government and seize territory for yourself and not get slaughtered. I want to refer back to the Montevideo Convention on the Rights and Duties of States. Article 11 says the contracting states definitely establish as the rule of their conduct the precise obligation, watch this, not to recognize territorial acquisitions or special advantages which have been obtained by force. Meaning, if you obtain territory by force, you will not be able to be recognized by the international community as a nation. And remember, one of the prerequisites to becoming a sovereign nation or a sovereign state, you must be recognized by someone else in the international community. So you can't fight to get the sovereign status. You can't petition the Constitution to get the sovereign status, and you can't petition the courts to get the sovereign status. So what's left? Some people will think in their mind that they can run to the UN, the United Nations, to get granted sovereign status. But that's more foolishness, family. It's just not going to happen. And if you go to the United Nations actual website, they tell you this. People just don't do the research. On the United Nations website, they say the United Nations is neither a state nor a government and therefore does not possess any authority to recognize either a state or a government. Why is this important? They're telling you that in order to be recognized as a state, you have to be recognized by someone in the international community. The United Nations is neither a state nor a government, so they openly admit that they do not possess the authority to recognize you as a state or a government. So you can't fight for your sovereign status and get it in America. You can't go to the Constitution. You can't go to the Supreme Court, and you can't go to the United Nations because the United Nations is not a state or a government, and you need a state or a government to recognize you. You're going to run into another brick wall. We have to stop letting people convince us that the things that they come up with in their head are actually good ideas, because we will just waste time chasing the fool's gold. Now get this, family. You can't even really go to the UN to get redress for the things that you are going through. You can try, but within the UN, there is something that is called the 5 permanent members of the Security Council. The 5 permanent members are China, France, the Russian Federation, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and the United States. Why is this important? Because if you want to petition the UN for anything, even admittance into the UN, or to get the Security Council to interact or intervene in something that is happening around the globe, you have to petition the Security Council. Now, these 5 permanent members, which the United States is a part of, they have something that's called veto power. And all of this is coming off their website. Listen to this, family. They were granted, the 5 permanent members, they were granted the special status of permanent member states at the Security Council, along with a special voting power known as the right to veto. It was agreed by the drafters that if any one of the 5 permanent members cast a negative vote in the 15-member Security Council, the resolution or decision would not be approved. So if you try to go to the United Nations, which in all actuality is an extension of the United States because they're one of the 5 permanent members, if you try to go to the United Nations to get them to do something that is not within the interest of the United States can just use their veto power, and the United Nations will not even get involved. So you can't really even run to the United Nations about it. That's why I said in the beginning, it's fool's gold. It sounds like a solution, looks like a solution, feels like a solution, but upon further inspection, it's not a solution at all. It's merely a waste of time. So should Black people fight for sovereignty in America? No. Spend your time, resources, and intelligence on something that's actually valuable. And I concede the rest of my time. Hotel, I'm pulled out. I'll be back in the rebuttal, family.
All right. Shout out to Brother Ampu. We're going to pass the rock now over to Brother True Justice. True Justice, you also have 10 minutes to do your thing whenever you're ready. You can begin your premise, brother.
Hey, Solar, did you get my PowerPoint?
Yes, sir. You want me to share it?
Please.
All right. All right, brother. The presentation is up. So whenever you're ready.
All right. I'd just like to say that my friend here, when it comes to the United Nations, he's very misinformed. Okay. Go ahead and go to the next page, Solar. Okay. This is from the NAACP. 84% of Black adults say white people are treated better than Black people by police. 63% of white adults agree, based on a 2019 research on police relations. 80% of Black adults say the United States criminal justice system is more unjust towards Black people. 61% of white adults agree. Okay. We've had unfair systemic issues to where the government will write up certain laws targeting certain minority groups. Okay. Putting them unfairly into these prison systems and gaining free work. Okay. A lot of people say we are in slavery, but if you can observe the pictures, it just looks all the same. Just looks like slavery to me. Okay. These guys do jobs that people actually get paid in the real world for, and good money actually. And they come into prison and they give free work. Next page. The institutions, politics, policies are based on an old myth that Black people are inferior. Okay, and that's why Black people should strive for sovereignty. Okay. We might not succeed, but we gotta at least fight for it. We gotta at least strive for it. We got to at least try. Okay. The systemic issue is very installed in the when they started the school systems, the economic systems, and the government system. When they started that's what they kept in mind, that Black people are inferior. Okay, so we have a systemic issue here. Next page. Okay, education. Okay, the Little Rock Nine was a group of 9 African women students enrolled in Little Rock Central High School in 1957. Their enrollment was followed by the Little Rock Crisis, in which the student were initially prevented from entering the faculty initially prevented from entering the racially segregated school by the governor of Arkansas. Okay, so ever since the beginning, we've had like problems with the systemic issue, the government itself trying to stop Black people from reading. Okay, even in this day, they're holding them back from trying to even get a college education. Okay. Just because the United States government decided to feel one way, it doesn't mean the teachers throughout time felt the same way. We could have been getting an unfair education and we wouldn't even know. Okay. But the proof of this is initial proof of a bias towards Black people, a reason to strive for our own government, and Black girls are 7 times more likely to get suspended compared to white girls, and 4 times more likely to be arrested on campus. Okay, when out of school, Black women will automatically get 25% less pay than the white woman, even if they have the very same education. This is a systemic issue in the business world also. Next page. With the addition to these unfair statistics, we also have underfunded Black colleges with used books and overcrowding. Okay. For instance, we have the Mississippi Valley State University compared to Ole Miss. Okay, with Ole Miss being an all-white school and Mississippi Valley an all-Black school, all the Black school was underfunded. Okay, compared to the white college school, the college. Okay, this is a systemic issue across the country. Okay. Mainly, it's because like 40% of the property tax that goes to schools. Okay, so if the property is worth like nothing, okay, if you're in the ghetto, okay, then that's how much the school gets. That's why we have impoverished schools. Okay, it's because the low income area, the 40% is very low, and in the rich area, their 40% where they live is very high. So their property tax gives them, very good schools, okay, in which this is a solid issue, a systemic issue, a reason for us to strive to try to fight for our sovereignty. Next page. Redlining, okay, to refuse someone a loan or insurance to someone because they live in an area deemed to be poor, a financial risk. Okay, it's an illegal discriminatory practice in which the lender restricts service to certain areas of the community, often because of the racial characteristics of the applicant's neighborhood. Okay, a practice, a systemic issue that's been around for years. Okay, sovereignty should be the first thing on our minds when seeing something like this. Next page. The Fortune 500, okay, there are only 4 Black CEOs remaining on the Fortune 500, okay, and all there have only been 18 Black CEOs on the Fortune 500 since 1999. The peak was 6 in 2012. They have an average of like 40 or 50 every year. Okay. Next page. Oh no, stay here. Hold on. Sorry, the systemic issues in the business world and in the field of technology They have issues. They have racial biases in the business itself, in the business world itself. So not only would you have people hating on you in the educational world, when you get in the business world, you have people that are being biased against you because of your color, strictly because of your color. Interviews with 20 Black tech leaders depict a position of power that can sometimes feel powerless. Repeated assumptions that they are not in charge of their own companies. A common experience among Black chief executives. They say it instills lingering sense of doubts. They describe a career of subtle slights or outright discrimination in which they face regular inquisition about their credentials. Okay, 13% of the United States population is Black, yet from 1990 to 2016, 0.04% of people who received venture capital were Black, according to a study by Harvard University. Next page. Black startup leaders declined to identify offending investors, okay, because they feared speaking out would harm their fundraising prospects, okay? Many expressed hesitations about talking publicly, and several requested anonymity because they wouldn't want their race to overshadow their credentials. Okay, that's a really good reason why we should be going for sovereignty. Real reason why we should be fighting. Okay, striving for it. Okay, because of these systemic issues. Okay, that's my premise. All right, thank you, Solar.
All right. Shout out to the league. We're going to take a break and come right back, family, with the rebuttal round. This is the Solar Vision Debate League.
Losing interest, you won't find nobody than this. I swear, God, if you leave, just let me know so I won't look down. When you move on, yeah. Losing interest, you won't find nobody than this. I swear, God, if you leave, just let me know so I won't look down. When you move on, yeah. Losing interest.
This is the Solar Vision Debate League, and we're heading now into the premise round, family. So we're going to start out with Brother Anpu. We're going to set the timer for 10 minutes, and it is on you, Anpu. Whenever you're ready, you could begin your rebuttal. I'm sorry, your rebuttal. Whenever you're ready, brother.
Okay, you can start the time, Solar.
All right.
Okay. Listen, family. My opponent pointed out what he kept referring to as systemic racism, right? He talked about colleges being underfunded. He talked about redlining, not a lot of Black CEOs, and it appears his whole premise is geared towards pointing out negative things that have happened to Black people in America. Okay, I get it, but I want you guys to pay attention to something, right? I want the audience and the judges to pay attention to something. he never really explained how sovereignty in America was going to be achieved, and how this sovereignty was going to solve those problems. You can have a issue where there's not a lot of black homeowners in America, and you can point that out, and you can play on someone's emotions and try to tell them, look, there aren't a lot of black homeowners. We need sovereignty. And an individual that's not really thinking, they're going to say, well, you know what? That's right. We do need sovereignty. But this individual never explained to you how this sovereignty is going to equate to everybody who relocates to this territory to create this sovereign nation here in America is going to have housing. It's as if we can't look around the globe and see these same problems everywhere. Now, I'm not giving America a pass, right? I'm not giving America a pass for the things that America has done to the African Americans, but I'm saying my opponent never explained how sovereign. There are plenty nations and countries around the world with total sovereignty that the American government is not in control of their government, and they have worse problems than African Americans have in America. So sovereignty in and of itself is not going to solve the problem. What if the individuals that's in control of the government of this sovereign nation that he wants to control are corrupt? If those people are corrupt, then the citizens are going to suffer, and we see it around the world all the time. Now, someone who is trying to be slick, they're going to say, oh, well, that's because America and other European powers interfere in the affairs of those sovereign nations, and that's why those nations can't get ahead. Where you're still in a catch-22 trick bag, because what makes you think if African Americans all relocate to Texas, let's say, secede from the Union, magically it works, become a sovereign nation, what makes you think that the American government, if you understand that the American government can destabilize a country halfway across the world, what makes you think they can't destabilize a country right in their own backyard? So he has to explain how this sovereignty will solve those problems. It's getting too close to the playoffs, bro. You will not get away with trying to use these emotional tactics by trying to tell people about all of the negative things that America has done to black people, and then tell them sovereignty as if it's a magic word that just will solve all problems. No, it will not. And I want to point out something, and you're gonna think I'm being petty, but I gotta point it out anyway. This is a debate, brother. While he was talking, the brother said 80 acres and a mule. 80 acres and a mule. Family, it was 40 acres and a mule. Now, you may think that's a small thing or something petty, but it shows my opponent may not fully understand and comprehend the gravity of the subject that we are talking about. When you are in a debate, if you don't fully understand and grasp the subject that you are talking about, why are you talking about it? Because what's going to happen is people are going to hear this and they're going to run off on a half-cocked plan with fool's gold, thinking they have real gold, and they're going to run into a brick wall. I showed you. He's talking about sovereignty in America, family. And then he tells you how negative and bad America is. So what makes him think this nation that he feels is so adverse to the African American population is going to even allow the African Americans to carve out their own nation on territory that the United States government already controls? Don't get lost. Yes, an individual naturally will want to govern themselves. Naturally, you are going to want that, but you have to take it a step further in order for it to be a viable plan. I told you and I showed you the Supreme Court, who interprets the constitutional laws. They say that there is no plan for secession in the Constitution. And when Texas tried to secede with the Confederate States after the Civil War, the courts came back and said that states cannot secede. So if somebody is telling you this sovereignty thing, yes, it may sound good, but ask them to explain how they are going to get this American government that they spend all their time complaining about to go against their own laws, rules, and regulations to give you this sovereign status. And in order to be a sovereign nation, you have to declare yourself sovereign, but you must, family, you must be recognized by someone else in the international community. And you must have a clearly defined territory. He never even said where this clearly defined territory is going to be. He never even said that. So how serious can we take this idea that he's presenting us with? He never told us what kind of government it's going to be. Yeah, you want to be sovereign, right? You want to be sovereign. What if he comes back and he tells you that the government is going to have a constitution based on Torah, and the government officials are going to be a priesthood, and the government is not going to be a democracy or a republic? It's going to be a theocracy where God, interpreted by the Bible, is going to be the ultimate authority. Do you want that kind of sovereignty? A lot of individuals that watch this channel, I know me, myself included, I don't even believe in the God of the Bible. So if I'm forced to be a part of a nation whose governmental structure is a theocracy, where the God of the Bible is the ultimate authority as interpreted by a priesthood in the Bible, and I don't believe in the God of the Bible, guess what? I can be killed. I can be killed. I will suffer the same type of persecution because I don't believe in the God of the Bible. I will suffer the same type of persecution, maybe worse, that I would suffer under America. Ask this guy, how is sovereignty going to solve that? And I'm going to tell you guys something. If you want to fight for sovereignty, that's cool. If that's what you want to do, do it. But wouldn't it make more sense to try to fight for sovereignty somewhere else? Like make some kind of agreement with another foreign power that will let you purchase land and declare yourself sovereign on that land? Because I showed you, you're not doing it in America. People want to point out how the Native Americans have their own forms of government, right? Have their own forms of government right here in America. But family, you have to understand the Constitution, right? You have to understand the Constitution. Let me tell you what the Constitution says. In Section 8, it says to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes. So it's already a provision in the Constitution of the United States for Indian tribes to be able to govern themselves. A lot of those Indian tribes maintain the right to govern themselves because they sold and gave away a lot of land. Now, they took a lot of land, but they sold and gave away a lot of land to the Europeans when they came over here. Black people in America, we're not the Native Americans. We don't have that provision in the Constitution. So I'm still waiting on the brother to explain how his sovereignty will be achieved and how it will solve the problems that he's pointing out, because I can look all over the world and I can see a lot of the same problems. And in fact, a lot of people from third world countries that's suffering, they come to America and they have it in their minds that even though African Americans go through what they go through in America, we still have it better. And that's just the facts. We still have it better than a lot of people in a lot of other countries. So explain to us how this sovereignty is going to be achieved and how it's going to solve our problems. Hotel, I'm Pooh out. I'll be back in the next round, family.
All right. Shout out to Brother Ampu. True Justice, it is on you, brother. Whenever you're ready, you could begin. I'm sorry. It is on you, True Justice. Whenever you're ready, you could begin your rebuttal, brother.
You guys, I think my opponent's confused. That was just a long, crazy rant, full of misunderstandings. He's saying he wants me to fall into the thing of explaining on what happens after sovereignty, which I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick to the title. The title is, should we fight for it? Should we strive for it? So I'm going under should, okay? So I'm not going to fall into that because that's not the title of the debate, okay? So, you have different types of sovereignty. Okay, we don't need the white man to tell us if we're sovereign. Okay, that's not necessary. Okay, true sovereignty is where no one's telling you what to do. Okay, I want he wants to divert. Okay, like I said, all right, but we're gonna stay on point. Okay, as in the systemic issues we have here in this country. Okay, he's not telling us a way to get around them. He's not showing us a way to get over them. He's not showing us why we shouldn't strive, for sovereignty. He's not showing why we shouldn't fight for sovereignty. Okay, his only excuse is that the white man says we can't, so we can't. You're crazy. That's Stockholm syndrome. Okay. The Kurds have sovereignty. They have no country, my friend. Okay. We can take all the steps, okay, but we don't need, like I said, an okay for sovereignty. Okay. So that knocks your United Nations argument off the table. Okay. Like I said, if we had our own government, our own self-control, and we started here with clarity, okay, we can build a bridge. We can make the home base here, and we can announce it here, which would be better. So the world would know who we are, that we're coming out, that we're building a bridge out of America, okay, as Israelites to other countries, okay? The black dollar is strong. But like I said, I'm not going to get into what happens if we were to get sovereignty. That's not the argument tonight. The argument tonight is, should we fight for sovereignty? Should we strive for sovereignty? Okay? We have, like I said, geopolitical expressions of sovereignty. You have a stateless nation, okay? You have a nation state, okay? You have literally, you have the application address to apply for a sovereign state. Secretary General of the United States, First Avenue, 46th Street, New York, 10017. Okay, it's there for a reason. The application's there for a reason, guys. Okay, like I said, we had very unfair problems, right, with the economic situation. I've showed, okay, that in the business world, it's always going to be unfair. There's always going to be favoritism. And we all know the business world, it's all about networking, okay? So we're out, okay? Statistic wise, okay? The incarceration, it's crazy compared to the other races, okay? They're just locking us up like it's crazy, locking us up for nothing, locking us up to make their the deadline for arrest. Okay, you have incorrect political representation. We have the like I said, redlining that also not only affects insurance and stuff, but it also affects the political funding that is handed down by the government. Okay, so if we're redlined, they know to skip us. Okay, skip that area. Okay. We have unfair policing here. We're dying. We're being killed unfairly just because we're born this color. Okay. Mike Brown, Freddie Gray, Trayvon Martin. Okay. And they're hiring, they get to pick the defendant and the prosecutor. How can we fight against that? On what level can we go against that systemic installation? There's no way. So we should fight for sovereignty, okay? We should strive for sovereignty, okay? That's my rebut, okay? Thank you, Solar.
I shout out to brother Brother True Justice. We're gonna get into the rapid fire round, family. Right after this brief intermission. This is the league. Get some of that new shit. This is the Solar Vision Debate League, and we're now heading into the rapid fire round. We're going to start out with Brother Anpu. Cameras are on. Whenever you're ready, Anpu, you can go ahead and do your thing with the interrogation.
Okay, True Justice, you there, brother? Okay, according to
your mic, unmute your mic, True Justice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Can I go?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. According to your plan to create a sovereign nation in America, where is the location of this territory going to be?
It initially starts here.
Where? Where here?
Wherever we can find, whatever open cities we can find, whatever houses we can find.
So you don't know, just anywhere. You don't know? You don't have an idea?
Yeah, I have an idea. Like
Where?
I said, any type of cities in America, any place.
What state? What state? What area specific? What are you talking about?
Well, once that time comes, we will go over that and we will pick the best places to pick.
Okay, you don't know. Okay, according to your plan, what form of government should we institute in this sovereign state?
I don't know. Once we decide to strive for it, we'll make a decision.
You don't know where. You don't know what type of government. All right.
We have to decide to strive for it first.
All right. You don't know. I'm gonna move on. According to your plan, which nations are going to recognize you as a nation?
All the nations that will accept our information that we give them.
Yeah. Which ones? Who?
When it comes to that time, we'll decide what countries to send it to. First, we have to decide to fight for sovereignty.
Okay, you've seen in my presentation I showed you, in order to become a sovereign nation, right, you have to have a permanent population, a defined territory.
It's not true. You're misinformed. That's not true.
It's my turn. You can do this on your turn. You need a permanent population. You need a defined territory. You need a government, and you have to have correspondence with other nations. How are you going to come in here telling us that we should fight for sovereignty when as soon as you say sovereignty as a nation, you're automatically talking about territory, government, and being recognized by other nations? So, but if you don't know the territory, the governmental functions, if you don't know the nations that's going to recognize you, you don't have no idea of the sovereignty that you're talking about, fam. You just using the word sovereignty, bro. You leading.
No, that's not the debate. The debate is should we?
Yeah,
should we fight? Should we strive? That's the debate.
What is sovereignty, fam? What is sovereignty?
I read the definition to you, the ability to care for yourself.
So governmental control, right?
To govern over yourself.
Exactly. So if I'm asking you about government of this territory, when you say sovereignty, you're automatically talking about government. You're automatically talking about territory. You're automatically talking about being recognized, bro. You can't just say sovereignty as if it's not stuff that's attached to it. What?
Is this a question and answer? Is this a question?
You have no answers. You're saying that you don't know. You don't know, so I don't even know where to go from there. Let me ask you this thing.
If you're done with your questions, I got questions.
How will you coerce the U.S. government to give you land?
When it comes to that time, first we have to decide to strive for it and fight for sovereignty. When it comes to that time, we'll pick the best plans to go about it.
According to your plan, do you plan on joining the United Nations once you become a nation?
I believe we would try, but it's not going to stop us from sovereignty.
How joining the United Nations?
It won't stop us from our sovereignty. We'll apply for it.
No, you just said you would try to join the United Nations. So I'm asking you I want to see how well you understand what you're on here spewing to the people. How do you join the United Nations?
When the conditions are right, we'll join the United Nations.
How do you join the United Nations, bro? How? What do you do?
From the steps you said.
You tell them to me. Yeah, I know, but do you know?
Getting the recognition from other countries, getting your land, having borders, which you didn't mention.
No, I said, how do you join the United Nations? That's not the answer to the question. You're wrong. How do you join the United Nations?
You get referred by the Security Council, and the Security Council votes.
Okay. Do you understand that the United States government is one of the 5 permanent members of the United Nations?
For now, we don't know anything about the future. We don't know nothing about the future. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We're speaking in future terms, right?
It's 5 permanent members. We do know the future. They're permanent members, the United States, and the United States can veto anything you present to the Security Council to try to become a sovereign nation, to join the United Nations.
No,
they can veto you, bro. How are you going
to get
We
don't need them. We don't need them. We get around it because we don't need them. We don't have to have their permission to be a sovereign nation, is what I'm trying to tell you.
No, I know, but I asked you. That's why I asked you.
No, you don't know. You don't know because you keep bringing it up. You don't know because you keep repeating yourself like a damn broken record.
You plan on joining the United Nations. That's why I went down that road. If you would have said you don't plan on joining the United Nations, I would have went somewhere else. You said you want to join the United Nations.
I said it's a part of the plan in general.
So,
a part.
So part of the plan, or is it not a part of the
we don't need the United Nations.
Huh? What?
There's something wrong with the connection. But we don't need the United Nations.
Black people kill black people.
Yeah.
Do black people steal from black people?
Yeah.
Are some black people in positions of power corrupt?
Sometimes, yeah.
How will your idea of sovereignty stop black people from killing black people from stealing from black people, and black people being in power from being corrupt? How will your sovereignty stop that?
Because we'll have laws, and we'll have sentences for people that break our laws, and we'll have our own government, and we'll make up our own laws when it comes to that time when we decide to start fighting for sovereignty, when we decide to start striving for sovereignty.
So just because you have a law means no one will break it? Is that what you think? No one will break the law because you make it a law? It's a law against killing right now, and they still kill. Making a law doesn't stop murder.
People are going to break the...
What?
People are going to break the law here and there, but that's not going to stop our sovereignty.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with our sovereignty.
Your whole presentation, you were talking about how bad black people have it. So I'm asking you to explain how your sovereignty will solve those problems. How will it solve those problems?
Because we'll be separating. We'll be creating a sovereign nation here, outsourcing internationally. We'll be able to go to different countries and leave.
Are there any sovereign nations now in another part of the world that has the same problems that America has?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Repeat that.
Okay. Are there sovereign nations in the world that have problems with murder?
Yeah, there's sovereign and unsovereign nations that have problems with murder.
Nations in the world that have problems with theft.
I'm sorry?
Are there sovereign nations in the world that have problems with theft?
With theft?
Yeah.
Stealing?
Steal in sovereign nations.
Yeah.
People rape in sovereign nations.
All nations they rape. Yeah, all nations that happens.
So sovereignty cannot in and of itself magically solve those problems. Do you agree?
That's not what we're talking about. That's not the subject.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so your whole premise, you described how bad it was in America. Your solution to that was sovereignty. You just agreed that sovereignty cannot solve those problems. You're
failing to mention the unfair part.
What?
You're failing to mention the unfairness about it.
Or is there unfairness in other sovereign nations in other
Not at that level. Not at that level.
Or is it there at all?
Not at the level we're talking about, bro.
Is it there at all, brother?
Yeah, there's problems in all nations.
So again, your whole answer and solution to the problems that we face is a magical word called sovereignty. You don't know what kind of government you're going to have. You don't know where the territory is going to
Off
be. You
subject.
don't know how you're going to attain it. And you openly admit that sovereignty in and of itself cannot solve those problems. Your whole premise is dead, bro. I'm through. So
You didn't even do an argument.
Soda. I'm through, fam. Crazy.
Got some feedback, Solar.
All right, True Justice, it is on you. Yeah, I don't know where the feedback is coming from either. But it is on you, True Justice, whenever you're ready. You can begin your interrogation.
All right. Is the United States government exercising external control over black people here in America?
Yes.
If our communities had their own sovereign schools, businesses, politics, etc., wouldn't we have a more of a fair shake?
Not necessarily.
Do black people experience a wealth gap here in America?
Yes.
With white people holding 85% of the country's wealth, do you think we have a chance of becoming an equal player in this system?
Yes.
With institutions, policies, politics being based on the old myth that black people are inferior, how is it possible to change that kind of systemic issue?
I don't agree that all politics are based on the idea that black people are inferior. I don't even agree with that. And when you talk about
Why? Okay, Ampu, why shouldn't we strive for our own sovereignty as black Americans?
if you recall when we first set up this debate, if you remember when you gave me the title, I asked you 3 times, bro. I said, "Are you sure you're talking about in America?" You said yes, and you said you wasn't going to switch it on me in the debate. Now, I'm aware of what the Constitution says, and I'm aware of the ideas of the Supreme Court, and I understand that you're not about to seize territory and secede. It's a waste of time. You can fight for it. Yeah, you can try to get it, but your efforts and your resources, your intelligence, your fight would be better geared towards something else.
And that's all the subject is if we should. Okay, was Marcus Garvey dumb for striving
your mic sound a little low, Ampu.
My mic sounded low.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see something.
There you go. All right, so was Marcus Garvey dumb for striving for sovereignty?
What?
Was Marcus Garvey dumb for striving for sovereignty?
You saying Marcus Garvey was trying to strive for sovereignty here in America? That what you telling me? I wasn't aware of that. Can you show me that? Well, you ain't got to show it to me, but explain it to me. I never heard that.
If Marcus Garvey had succeeded in getting our sovereignty, would we be better off as black people today?
Again, I never heard that Marcus Garvey was trying to achieve sovereignty for black people in America. From what I know of him, he said,
Thank you. You answered the question. Do you feel that black people in America are experiencing corporate bias?
Are experiencing what?
Corporate bias?
In certain instances, in certain corporations, yeah, people are biased.
Okay. That's a systemic issue, right?
Yeah, it's people that's racist that
So my question is, do you see any time in the future of that being fixed for us?
Well, every corporation isn't even like that, bro.
Do you foresee in the
Everywhere you go, it isn't even like that.
Do you foresee in the future, because you already agreed that it's like that, do you foresee in the future that changing?
I don't know if everybody in the world is gonna suddenly not be racist, bro. I can't speak.
Yes or no? Do you think we'll be able to change that
No, I
systemic
think
issue?
there'll always be racist people in the world.
Okay, thank you. All right. The unemployment rate of the black graduate doubles that of the white graduate. Okay. Would you say that black college graduate has an unfair shake in our workforce here in America?
In certain instances, they might.
Okay. Actually, that's all my questions. All right. Thank you, Solar.
All right. Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and close this out, family. We'll be right back in a second. This is the Solar Vision Debate League. If you want to stay abreast with current political and entertainment news, chop it up with Toya G, Conscious Lee, and Domo the Political Plug on the Chop Up Show. I'm telling y'all, the vibe is great. The information is even greater. The link will be in the description below. Hit the link, subscribe to their YouTube page. Let's chop it up, family. What's good, family? This is your boy, Solar Man, and this is the Solar Vision Debate League. We're going down the final stretch, family, and this is the debaters that had the grit and the toughness. You soft debaters are already gone, but we got a little more to go before we get to the playoffs. And you know when the playoffs start, baby, that's a whole nother animal. This is the Solar Vision Debate League, intellectual supremacy. Yes, family, this is the Solar Vision Debate League, and we're closing out right now. We're going to start out with Brother Anpu. You have 5 minutes to do your thing, Brother Anpu, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Let me get my screen share up. My screen share is showing, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go. Again, the title of the debate that we were discussing is should black people fight for sovereignty in America? And my position was no, right? And just to simplify this complex subject matter, I liken my opponent's position to a fool's gold. It sounds like a solution. It looks like a solution. It feels like a solution, but it is not a solution. We have to get to a point where we stop letting people on the internet tell us anything and we run with it. You saw I asked him, what type of government will we have in this sovereign nation? He responded, he doesn't know. I asked him, where will this territory be? He responded, I don't know. I asked him which international states or governments will recognize us as a sovereign nation. He responded, I don't know. Now, you may not understand why that's important, but remember, in order to be a sovereign nation, right, you have to have a permanent population in a designated territory with a government, and you have to be recognized by other members of the international community. So when you say sovereignty, it's not just a word, it's not just a buzzword. The minute you say sovereignty, you're talking about territory. The minute you say sovereignty, you're talking about government. The minute you say sovereignty, you're talking about being recognized by other members of the international community. So if you don't have an idea of the territory, if you don't have an idea of the government, if you don't have an idea of being recognized by other members of the international community, you do not have an idea of sovereignty. He said out of his own mouth that sovereignty in and of itself would not solve the problems that he was complaining about in his premise. And he admitted that the same problems he was complaining about in his premise, you can find these in other nations around the globe that have sovereignty. So sit back and think for a minute. I know we don't like our history here in America. I understand our history here in America just like you. And just because someone comes and say, oh, sovereignty, we need to be free from the American government. You need to slow them down and say, okay, that sounds good. How are we going to achieve this? The minute that they tell you that they don't know, you need to look the other way and run. People have been leading our people into the slaughter for far too long. And when someone such as myself tries to come and tell the truth, it's hard for you to understand what I'm saying because all you heard was sovereignty, as if it's a buzzword. When someone tells you sovereignty, automatically think about the conditions that I laid out in my premise that have to be achieved before you reach the sovereignty. And if they pretend that they can run to the UN and get something done on their behalf, listen, the United States is a permanent member of the Security Council of the United Nations, and they have veto power. And it has been shown, I can pull it up if I had time, that when those 5 permanent members utilize their veto power, they always do it to keep the United Nations from doing something that goes against the interests of their nation. So if you're complaining about America, and you want to secede from America, and you know based on the Constitution and the Supreme Court that America does not want you to secede, America says that you cannot succeed, then secession goes against the issues of the American government. So the United Nations cannot even help you in that regard. We have to be smart. You have to be smart. There is no need to run at somebody that's carrying an AR-15 that's going to murder you and your whole family just to feel like you're proving a point. You have to outsmart your opponent. And you can only outsmart your opponent by listening to people that have a firm grasp of the topic that they are talking about. He can answer no questions about sovereignty. In fact, I taught you more about sovereignty than he did, and sovereignty is his solution. Hotel Ample out. I hope you all learned something from the debate.
Ooh. That's not good. All right, shout out to Brother Ampu. We're going to keep this thing rocking and rolling, family. True Justice, it's on you. You have 5 minutes to close whenever you're ready.
You guys, he keeps coming out here talking about, I don't know what I'm talking about, but he doesn't even understand that there's different kinds of sovereignty. He doesn't, he thinks that he has to go to the United Nations for sovereignty when that's not the only way you could get sovereignty, okay? He keeps trying to divert the argument into, I didn't go into none of the plans. I have plans on what we could do after sovereignty. I'm just not going into them because that's not the debate of the title. That's not the title of the debate. The title of the debate is, should we strive for it? Should we fight for it? That's the title, Ampu. It's like you can't keep up with the title. I said that we have to wait till the time is right to make certain decisions, okay? We can fulfill all the categories needed by the United Nations by planning carefully. But first, we have to get to making the decision to want to strive for it. That's what this is a debate about, is should we strive for it? Should we fight for it? Not what happens after we get it, okay? We have problems with wealth, incarceration, politics, education here, okay? My opponent admitted that we have permanent systemic issues. That's more than enough reason. Just that one reason is enough for us to go to war. We got to remember, not go to war, but to separate. Because we got to remember that the Americans with the Boston Tea Party didn't take much. All right? This is like 4 or 5 categories of things, okay? that we should be upset about. That should make us want to strive for sovereignty. Okay. I said that about the 40%, the redlining. Okay. That's permanent. That's not going anywhere. Okay. These politicians, these lobbyists, their careers are based off of holding you down. Okay. That's not going anywhere. Okay. We have historical realities in this country that we can't get around. Okay. We have to separate. We have to have our own system. We have to decide to strive. Okay. We got to decide to fight. Okay. The Americans, when they did their parliament and they passed a referendum, they didn't already have guns and knew what was always going to happen. They didn't. No, it's one thing at a time. Things are done in order, my friend. Okay. I just feel as though that you're jumping the gun and you're a little too anxious. Okay. We can, like I said, declare independence. We can have our own government. We can take care of ourselves without the help or permission from anybody, because true sovereignty is just no one telling us what to do. We're sovereign. We're on our own. We're doing our own thing. Okay. My friend here doesn't even know all the parameters of even becoming a sovereign nation. Okay. You have to have clear borders. And there's plenty of other things that he missed. Okay. He claims he knows them all. He doesn't actually really know them. Okay. It's sad that I never got to debate him on if we should or shouldn't. He never told me a reason bring out information on why we shouldn't, and I bring out information on why we should. Okay, that's my argument. All glory and all praises to our Most High, y'all. All right, that's my debate. All right, thanks, Solar.
All right. Shout out to both debaters, but unfortunately for both of these debaters, their time is officially up. The Shucklebuck round is now in session, family. So, who do you want Solar Mind to Shucklebuck first? Is it Brother Ampu or is it True Justice? Press 1 for Ampu, 2 for True Justice. This is the Solar Vision Debate League. Who do you want me to Shucklebuck first? Let us know now or die.
Yeah.
Vainglorious Vanguard.
Knowledge born.
Yeah.
United front.
Tell it.
What you want.
To the Knowledge Radio.
We in here. What you got? Dot.
Work hard as a slave to one day be your savior. The wave unwavering. This is a labor of love, rise with a purpose every day, invigorated. If we were on TV, we'd be 10 times syndicated. If we waited for validation, a paycheck or accolades, we'd be starved, already lost or ran away. But when your square solid and your circle too, you don't need a place for silence. The concept is conquered through media, not areas of people activity. A mix that don't lose ethnicity, tightness that don't lose elasticity. Explicitly, this isn't where we give the novice regard. Nah, this is where knowledge is born. Last time that I checked, I'm undefeated. Deliver edicts, can't resist when the gods build and manifest freedom. When lines get crossed, they may push a loss, cause they get handed a check. We kick a can and cancel your cancerous gestures. A prophet vision, precision, the prescription for the sickness is to inoculate your fate with the winning. Arrogant beginnings turn to humble endings. And UF with KBA is a win-win. 1K.
This is the Solar Vision Debate League, family. Let me take a look at the chat room to see who do you want me to Shucklebuck first. All right. It looks like it's more ones than two, so we're gonna bring True Justice on. Brother Anpu on first. All right. What's going on, brother Anpu?
What's up, Solar?
All right. So, should we strive for sovereignty?
No.
Why so?
Because when we set this debate up, he was specific about trying to seek this sovereignty in America. So I think trying to achieve sovereignty and become a sovereign nation in America, I think it's a fool's errand and ultimately a waste of time.
Why so?
Because it's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. And even if it did, it's not a guaranteed solution to solve the problems that we face. It's not even a real solution to the problems.
So why don't you believe that it could work?
Why I believe we can't attain the sovereignty?
Right.
The short version is because America isn't going to allow you to get a state and secede from the Union. Not gonna happen.
When was that ever the case?
What?
Like during the time of revolution that the opposing power allowed the revolutionaries to get anything?
I don't know of an instance where someone seized power or territory from the American government and took a territory and became sovereign. I don't know if that's never happened. I've never seen that happen.
Well, I'm just speaking of it's a form of revolution. So that's just part of the revolution. They're gonna fight against you, of course. But you think that. Do you think that we should strive for revolution? Or sovereignty?
Nah, see, that's the thing, and that's how I was kind of specific about it when we were setting up this debate. If you ask me, if you're going to talk about sovereignty, you got to talk about the sovereignty outside of America. You have to seek it somewhere else. As long as you're talking about trying to be sovereign here in America, to me that it's a fool's errand. I see no clear path to that. They even tried it. They like Europeans tried it with the Civil War. That's what the whole Civil War was about. And we seen the outcome. We seen the outcome of that. So we have a historical reference to this whole concept. And even if we do get sovereign here in America, it's not even going to be an automatic fix to the problems that we face. So what is it about?
So are there issues with blacks in America?
Yes.
So what are some of those issues?
Racism. Racism is a big one.
Okay, so speaking in terms of racism, did we make any effort to try to solve that problem?
Yes.
Did we solve that problem of racism in America?
It's gotten better, but I don't think it's been solved in the sense of it's nobody else that's racist. There's a lot of racism that's still around.
Well, no, not necessarily like racism. Like, for example, I think that for example, we have a solution to people who steal. We have a solution to people who kill. So there's a court system that is designed that, okay, if you do these things, then we could punish you in a certain type of way. Do you think that we solved the racism problem from that position?
I wouldn't say that it's solved. No, I would be lying. But I would say that. I'm sorry. What?
So you do you believe in systemic racism?
Define that for me. I think I understand what you're saying, but
systemic racism is like racism that is being done within the system that we live in. So
yes, I gotta admit to that. Yes.
Okay, so you're saying that in the system, there are things designed to keep black people, or just marginalize black people, in a certain way just based off of the color of their skin.
Yes.
Why would you want to live in a country that's designed that way?
Is if I had my choice, I wouldn't live in a country like that.
So what would you do?
If I mean, well, what do you mean?
You said if you had your choice, you wouldn't want to live in a country like that. So I said, what would you do?
Yeah.
If you had your choice.
I mean, if and I'm gonna be honest with you, man. People may not like it, but I would only move to a certain place where I felt like I would be better off than I am right now. There are some places that I may not have to worry about.
Would you look for sovereignty, bro?
It depends on how it's presented. The first prerequisite, I wouldn't look for sovereignty.
Would that be one of your options, bro?
Not here, no.
What would you do, brother?
I just told you.
What's that?
I just told you. Let me put it like this. I'm not about to relocate to a country where my living conditions are.
I didn't ask you about what.
But you asked me what I would do. So
what would you do?
That's what I'm kind of going into. This
So
what I'm
what would
telling
you do, bro?
I would deal with what I deal with in America as opposed to living in certain other areas around the globe.
But you just said 5 minutes ago, brother. You just said 5 minutes ago that if you had your choice, you wouldn't put up with that.
Yeah, but I'm not going to put up with anything else. That's just it. You can't tell me that, oh, okay, there may not be.
Okay, so under those circumstances, wait, hold on.
But if you go over here.
Wait. So under those circumstances, you said that you're not going to put up with what's going on here, and you don't want to put up with what's going on anywhere else. What would be the most logical solution?
Yeah, to weigh my options. I'm not finna go and
so you say wait. So you say wait. So you saying that you don't like it over here. You don't like it over there. You don't like it over here. You don't like it over there. You're gonna have to deal with some stuff over there.
Yeah.
What would be the more logical solution? Wouldn't be the more logical solution to be, well, if you don't like it anywhere, why don't you get your own shit? Wouldn't that be more logical? Would that be more logical? Yes or no?
What? I didn't hear you. I was cutting you off. What?
Exactly. So what would it be more logical for you? You say you don't like it over here. You don't want to put up the stuff over there either. You don't like it over here. So wouldn't the more logical solution be to just get your own shit?
I don't have a problem with sovereignty somewhere else.
Yes or no, bro?
No, that's what I'm telling you. I don't have a problem with sovereignty.
So you saying no, that wouldn't be the most logical solution, that you say you don't want to put up with the rules over there, certain rules over there, and you don't like the rules over here either. You saying so?
No, that's not the most logical solution, because who knows what I'm going to be subjected to in this new place that I go into? It's problems everywhere you go. Just because you move to a new location, wouldn't it be better
to start your own shit though? Like okay, grandma's not letting you put the orange juice in the freezer.
Yeah.
Wifey's, she want a divorce. So wouldn't the more logical solution be get your own shit?
But what if getting my own shit is living under a bridge? No, I'm not going to go live under a bridge.
So you'll just put up with the shit that everybody has to deal with.
You got to put up with something. It's life, bro. You got to put up with something.
Yeah, that's life.
Yeah, so I'm gonna weigh
and that's why they call George Washington and those motherfuckers the founding fathers. Because you know what? The road wasn't clear. It wasn't clear. They most people thought they was gonna lose. But they had some decisions.
But that's different. I don't want you to misconstrue my position.
That's what makes them great.
No, but that's different. I don't have a problem with
So
black
you
people
say you'll
trying to
put
be
up with
sovereign somewhere else.
what the white
I'm
man
saying
you'll put up with what the white man is doing, pretty much what you're saying.
No.
What are you saying then?
You can try to achieve sovereignty here in America, or you can try to achieve sovereignty somewhere else. I'm not going to debate against trying to go somewhere else and doing your own thing. But right here, trying to carve out some of this American soil and become sovereign, that's crazy talk, bro. It sounds good. It sounds good, but that's crazy talk.
So you saying that you'd rather put up with what the white man's doing to you?
It depends on what the other option is.
Yeah,
bro.
or carve out something here in America.
Okay, you think about it.
Or carve, wait, yes or no? Which one would you rather, bro? Which one would you rather do?
If you try to,
I'm not asking for an explanation. What I'm asking for is which one would you rather do? Carve out something here in America,
it's the same. It's the same.
Put up with the white man's shit. Which one would you do?
It's the same, bro. It's the same thing.
Which one would you rather put up with? I didn't ask you whether it was the same or not. I said, which one would you? How would you rather put up with? Which one would you rather put up with, bro?
What do you mean?
You want to try to carve out your own independent sovereignty here in America, or do you want to be integrated? Which one would you rather put up with?
Integrated.
Thank you, brother. You're dead. You're dead. If he's smacking you up in your head already, shit, you might as well go for the damn goal. You might as well go for independence if he's smacking you anyway. It's almost like, I'm acting like I'm cool with the dude, but he's still beating my ass and taking my cookies. Like, what type of logic is that? He's still beating your ass and taking your cookies, but you still want to be cool with him? No, we might as well be enemies. We might as well go at it now. Like, you're still beating me up. Anyway, what type of shit is that? Oh, no, I'd rather be integrated. Like, what the fuck? That shit crazy as hell. You might as well fight him now. You're saying that he's doing the same shit. True Justice. What's good?
Shalom. That was rough.
Yo, he's stupid.
Man.
Don't try to make me laugh, nigga. I'm in war mode, nigga. He tried to make me laugh.
I see that, man. I see that, bro.
He thought something was wrong. You made me forget what I was going to say. Yeah. So, should black people strive for sovereignty here in America, bro?
Yes.
Why so?
Because of the unfair systemic issues that we're enduring.
So, where are we gonna go?
I don't know.
So you don't know where we're gonna go?
I think it'll be best for once we decide to fight for sovereignty to do things in order, and when that time comes, we'll make decisions on going about that correctly.
Okay, so in America, have we have we progressed as a nation? Dealing with the race issue. Is there some strides that we actually have made here in America?
Some. Yeah. So
from a scale of 1 to 10, what would you put it?
Like 3.
3.
3 or 4.
So you're saying from chattel slavery, we were chattel slaves working for free, and
he went right into Jim Crow.
The last president of the United States was not Donald Trump, but Barack Obama was a black man. You saying that's 3?
Yeah, I don't consider Barack Obama. That's he's a puppet. He was a puppet.
But they voted for a black man in office.
but he didn't do anything for our people, and that was a Democratic Party thing. I don't think it had anything to do
Do
with
you
him being
work for
black.
free?
Do I work for free?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so do black people work for free now?
In the jail system, yeah.
They don't work for free in the jail system. They pay them in the jail system.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
No, not all the time. They don't.
Well, I know when I was locked up, I did tutoring and help, GED tutoring, and I got paid for that. It wasn't that
I was
much.
in jail. I never got no money. I was working cow fire. I didn't get anything.
They got you then. I don't know.
I was working all day hard.
I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, you get a little bit of money, but But that's because you committed a crime, though.
It's jail.
Okay, so that doesn't exclude that ain't just for black people. If a white person is in jail, they'll get the same amount as you.
Yeah, but we're talking the difference between serving time and working.
Right. So pushing jail aside, because that's if you commit a crime. We talking about in American society. Are you working for free in regular American society? Because the slaves during chattel slavery, they weren't criminals. They just had to work for free. So that's two totally different things. So we're talking about you in everyday society, black people in general, do they have to work for free? Do they work for free?
Damn, we're really gonna do this, huh? No,
how were we able to get from being chattel slaves to now they have to pay us? What did we do? Was it something that we did?
Nuh-uh.
So it was nothing. It was nothing that we did.
When it comes to them signing their papers, I don't think so. I think they had their agendas to sign those papers and do those kind of things because of the riots. We were starting to uprise.
Okay, so that's something that we did. Is that's something that we did?
I thought you were speaking document-wise, but yeah, I'll go with you there.
Even document-wise, so it was a period, but even document-wise.
Well, you didn't have no black people signed in.
Well, Martin Luther King pretty much did everything but sign it. I mean, the document wouldn't have been on the table and negotiated had it not been for Martin Luther King. Pretty much convincing Lyndon Baines Johnson that you might want to take this approach in light of the situation that we're living in. So, of course, the president will have to sign that. The president just so happened to be white. But, it would have never got there had it not been for black people. Don't you agree to that, right?
I would, yes, I'll go with you on that. And in general,
okay, so if we were able to get to the point, are there black millionaires now?
There's some.
Okay, so we went from working for free, now we got black millionaires. So we was able to make that much progress. Don't you think that we should continue to strive for more progress as opposed to starting on which one would be more logical to you? Now we got black millionaires, we got black thousandaires, we got black people that live in pretty much middle class communities, black people, even the poor black people have a level of comfort that's better than third world nations. So which one would be more logical to you? Continue to strive to get equality, which we were successful at doing, or start from scratch? Allow the white man to have all the things that you worked to get to this point. Just give them everything that you strive for and just start from scratch. Which is more logical?
Start from scratch.
Now, explain to me, how would that be more logical?
Because the benefits you say we're getting are
you're breaking up a little bit. Stop moving.
The freeing of slaves. The freeing of the slaves was had a lot to do with politics of the time, and I don't think it was just like freeing black people.
Bro, why does that matter? Why does that matter? We got it done. I don't give a fuck what. I don't give a
Because
fuck about. I don't give a damn about why they decided to do it on their part. We got it done. That's what we were trying to do, and we got it done.
Because it's force.
That's life,
Yeah,
bro. Like, okay,
but
this
we use
dude.
force.
Okay, this dude wants to do. This dude wants to do something for the money. The other dude wants to do it to save the community. Who gives a shit? Long as we on the same page about what we need to do.
But we were able to use force at that time with Nat Turner and the railroad. We were able to use force, and well, it's different now. We don't have those options anymore.
Why
to be able to fight back.
Wait. Don't you have a Second Amendment
physically,
right? Yeah, you could buy guns just like anybody, bro. You could buy guns just like anybody else, bro. I'm not trying to hit it. You got black men in the military. You got black men in the military. You got black men in the armed forces. What's the problem, bro?
Police state.
You're breaking up, bro. You're breaking up.
We're in a police state. We're in a police state now. Some of those
police officers black.
Some, very few.
Very few. All right. So what's the problem then?
The problem is the systemic issues involved in that.
They're already project. Do you project, bro, or you just react?
I would like to think that I do both.
So if you're projecting, you're looking at by 2050 or 2040, whites will be the minority in this country. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay, so why would you leave when it's only 20 years away from getting rid of this race problem based off of the fact that they are the majority? Why would you leave on the brink when you was the one that fought for all the rights? When you was the one that actually helped build a country? Why would you wait up until the point where they're now being the minority, where we pass enough laws so we can allow immigrants of all nationalities and colors into the country to make this a country that is not predicated around race? Why would you wait up until that point to leave?
Because of the permanent systemic issues at hand.
Were you fighting those systemic issues from the beginning?
Yes.
Was those systemic issues worse then than it is now?
Yeah.
You're dead. It don't make no sense. Why would you leave now then? If it was worse then than it is now, you stayed then. You stayed when it was lynching and hanging you. You stayed through Jim Crow. Why I leave now? You're only like 20, 40 years away from having your own shit. Or at least not being predicated around white supremacy. All right, shout out to both debaters. I'm going to throw the link inside of the chat. All right, so once again, tonight the topic for tonight's debate is should black people separate from the system should black people separate from the US for liberation? All right, so it should be a very interesting debate. Obviously, we're going with the standard format. That's a 5-minute opening, 10 minutes apiece for the rebuttal, for the premise, rebuttal, and rapid fire rounds, and a 5-minute closing. The sister is the affirmative, so she will be going first. So without further ado, let's get this debate started, family. I'll set the timer for 5 minutes and pass it over to the sister. And whenever you're ready.
All right. Can you see my screen?
All right. Yes, I see your screen, and your screen is up, sister.
All right. Should Black people leave the U.S. for liberation? Black Rose. My position? Yes, Black people should leave the U.S. for liberation. Liberation is defined by the Oxford Language Dictionary as the act of setting someone free from imprisonment, slavery, or oppression to release. Freedom from limits on thoughts or behavior. I need you to remember what the definition is because it is going to be brought up numerous times during this debate. My sources are Black Power, Politics of Liberation in America, Kwame Ture and Charles B. Hamilton, the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, www.newyorktimes.com, www.washingtonpost.com, www.blackexpats.com, and www.monticello.org. My arguments. I'm going to prove that the very foundation of the U.S. was built on the enslavement of Black people. My second point is going to be made by using historical and current events. I will show Black people are not, and won't be a free people in the U.S. And I'm going to use the experiences of Black expats to my final point, which will show you how Black people have made a Black exit, and are liberated and they're thriving. I want you to know that my opponent, he will be in his Southern Baptist voice trying to tell you that Black people have made like things happen off the blood, sweat, and tears. And I don't disagree with that. Really, it just makes my point. Because even though Black people have been the foundation for America, we're not liberated in these United States. I yield my time.
All right. Shout out to the sister. We're gonna keep this thing rocking and rolling, family. And pass this thing over now to Rio. Rio, it is on you. Whenever you're ready, you can begin your opening, brother.
I definitely so long about to share my screen. Can you see my screen, Sola?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, you can start my time, Sola.
All right,
cool. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this debate is: do Black people have to separate from the USA to find liberation? Let's move forward. This is my premise. It is my position that Black people have steadily made and continue to make progress in the area of liberation right here in the US without having to resort to a mass exodus. Black people do not have to separate from the US to find liberation. It is also my stance that the majority of Black people do not want to leave the US and see themselves as having stake and claim right here in this country. Furthermore, it is my perspective that the statistics and data research concerning Black people in the U.S. supports my argument that staying here has already proven to be beneficial on a social, economic, mental, financial, political, entertainment, and educational level, which in and of themselves are indicators and markers of a liberated people. Let's continue. Let's look at some of these words that we're going to be dealing with tonight. And this coming from the freedictionary.com. The word that this debate hinges upon this evening is liberation, but that is a derivative of liberate. So I want to give you these definitions at its very core, the substratum, the root, the basis for where this word is derived from. So let's start with here, because these are going to be the hallmarks that's going to really be the difference maker tonight, as the Queen said. Liberate, what does it mean? To set someone free from a situation, especially imprisonment or slavery, in which their liberty is severely restricted. That's liberate. Let's see another derivative of it. Well, what about liberated? It means of a person showing freedom from social conventions or traditional ideals, especially with regard to sexual roles. Let's move forward to liberation. The current manifestation of the word that we'll be diving into tonight is the act of setting someone free from imprisonment, slavery, or oppression. Release, freedom from limits on thoughts or behavior. Me and the queen, we agree on this particular instance of this word, but let's continue, because I agree with that last stance on liberating the minds. In this debate, we already see that it falls in lines with former black thought as it goes to liberation. This is a quote from Marcus Garvey: liberate the minds of men, and ultimately you will liberate the bodies of men. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the judges, those that's listening on every corner on this digital platform, you have to ask yourself in this debate, is your mind liberated? Is your mind in shackles? Do you have limitations on your thoughts? Huh? That's going to be very key. And the other word that we are building this foundation upon is the word separate. And it means to set or keep apart, to make a distinction between, forming or viewed as a unit apart or by itself. The question again, ladies and gentlemen, do we have to leave here to be a separate people? Or are we already a nation within a nation with distinctive markers and trademarks already viewed as separate and by ourselves? I bring the queen in my opening, Maya Angelou. She says this: we delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has to go through to achieve that beauty. And this is what this is about. All of the changes that black people have already done. Now you're just looking at the final form, but we cannot overstate or look or glance over the changes that have already been made and just leave that behind. She says you may not control the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. And it is my stance that by leaving is an act of reduction. Is us leaving behind all the gains and progress that we've made here. This word expat. Hopefully tonight, Holleigh will tell us what is the difference between an expat. I thought she would go into that, a person who lives outside their native country, because we have to know this tonight. What's the difference between an expat, a permanent residency, person's legal residence in the status of country of which that person is not a citizen, but they have the right to reside? So what are we really talking about? We have to find out. Are we leaving to be an expat, permanent residency, a citizen? Are we renouncing this citizenship? It has to be more than just a dream or a flight of fancy. We need concrete information tonight before we make such a radical decision that cannot be reversed. This right of abode. It's a person's right to take a residence or remain a resident in the country. Hopefully tonight my opponent can go through this with a fine-tooth comb and give our hearts the rest and reconciliation that we need if exiting America is the only strategy that we have. I tend to disagree. And that's what this debate is all about. Let's get it.
All right. Shout out to Rio. We're going to get to it right after this brief intermission. Family, this is the Solar Vision Debate League.
Reparations on the table, nigga, we ain't seen shit. Put us under pressure, nigga, we ain't even sweat. Came out shining like a diamond in the middle, what's a mess? On Martin Luther King, bitch, we coming for a check. Headed to the Capitol to stake my feelings in the mind of a radical, you can't ride with me. I'm my only witness when I handle my business. Pull it from their hips, say bye-bye, Billy. No more time for no coasting, I'm on the highway focused. I ain't even smoking, I'm just riding my emotion. Both eyes open, I'm just trying to keep calm. Put an extra set of eyes on them doing recon. Knee deep in snow, say you try and keep going. Told them get up out the cold before my nigga deform. Every old wound seem to getting retorn. I'ma write deep poems to a nigga reborn. I'ma make a statement before I make it out alive. No Channel 5, I would rather make a lie. Before the news try to make a nigga out alive. But the pain in my eyes on a much bigger prize. 501, both hands in the sky. Little do they know.
Shout out to the league. We are now heading into the premise round. We're going to go back to Sister Holleigh. It is on you, Sister Holleigh. Let me set the timer for 10 minutes. And it is on you whenever you're ready.
1 second.
All right, so your screen now is sharing whenever you're ready, sister.
Thank you. Oh, I'm back. Okay, so my premise is I'm going to prove that there's been no liberation for Black people in the US since the first slave ships arrived in North America. The reason why Black people will never be liberated in the US by using historical documents such as the Declaration of Independence, the US Constitution, historical and current acts of violence, laws, as well as the experience of Black expats. Racism is both overt and covert, two closely related forms. Individual whites acting against individual Blacks, and acts by the total white community against the Black community. Individual racism and institutional racism. Black Power Politics of Liberation in America, Kwame Ture and Charles Hamilton. The very foundation of the U.S. in association with slavery. Thomas Jefferson drafted the Declaration and called slavery abominable crime, yet he was a lifelong slaveholder, fearful of dividing the fragile new nation. Jefferson and other founders who opposed slavery did not insist on abolishing it. Monticello.org. The Declaration of Independence has 84 clauses that deal with the enslaved and their enslavement, and 5 more that hold the implications of slavery. The U.S. Constitution protected the property of those who enslaved Black people and prohibited the federal government from intervening to the end of importation of enslaved Africans for a term of 20 years, which allowed Congress to mobilize militia to put down insurrections by enslaved, criminalized states that had outlawed slavery and forced them to turn over enslaved people who ran away seeking refuge. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 1 of the U.S. Constitution. Historical and current events. The nation's founders believed in white supremacy, and they were not ashamed to say so. Slavery, the first slave arrived in North America in 1619. We began being considered 3/5 a person. Are we still? Dred Scott in 1857 sued to gain his freedom, and he lost. Liberation for you. April 16th, 1862, Lincoln signed a bill ending slavery in D.C., provided the emancipation of slaves and compensation to slave owners loyal to the Union of up to $300 for each freed slave. There went your reparations. Isaac Woodard of South Carolina, 1946, February, a decorated Army vet was beaten by police and left blind. NewYorkTimes.com, February 8th, 2019. Emmett Till, 1955. Sandra Bland, 2015. Second Lieutenant Karan Nazario, Army medic, the nephew of Eric, was attacked by police in Virginia, December 2020. WashingtonPost.com, April 14, 2021. Breonna Taylor, 2020. George Floyd, 2020. These are just different excuses for justification in the same results. There has been and will be no liberation in the U.S., just dead Black people being killed with impunity. Black visibility is not power. The conditions of poverty and discrimination in the community, in the Black community, are a function of institutional racism. It is institutional racism that keeps Black people locked in dilapidated slums, subject to a daily prey of exploitive slumlords, merchants, loan sharks, and discriminatory real estate agents. Society either pretends it doesn't know of the latter situation or is in fact incapable of doing anything meaningful about it because the nation's foundation was built on needing Black people enslaved, even with the illusion of being free. That's not liberation. There is no American dilemma because Black people in this country form a colony, and it is not in the interest of the colonial power to liberate them. Black people are legal citizens, yet they stand as colonial subjects in relation to white society. This relationship is characterized by institutional racism that colonial status operates in three areas: political, economic, and social. Colonial subjects have their decisions made for them by the colonial masters, and the decisions are handed down. The economic liberation of America's Black communities to the larger society also reflects their colonial status. Again, that's not liberation. Historically, colonies have existed for the sole purpose of enriching one form or another, the colonizer, to maintain the economic dependency of the colonized. The colonial power structure clamped a boot of oppression on the neck of Black people and then ironically said, they're not ready for freedom. If left solely to the goodwill of the oppressor, Black people never would be ready. Again, that is not liberation. My opponent asked, he was wondering where I was going to tell you what a Blacksit is. I'm going to let people who have become Black expats tell you exactly what a Blacksit is. Anthony Baguette, who now lives in the UK, knew the precise moment he had to get out. He was driving by a convenience store in Cincinnati when the police officer pulled him over. There had been a robbery. He fit the description. How many of us have fit the description given by the store's clerk? A Black man. Akuni Obadele Cambion now lives in Ghana. He was arrested in Chicago and accused by police of concealing a loaded gun under a seat in his car. He did have a gun, but it was not loaded. He used it in his role teaching at an outdoor skills camp for inner city kids. Cambone had a license. The gun was kept safely in the car's trunk. I mean, you follow their rules and you still are being knocked. Tiffany Drayton now lives in Trinidad and Tobago. Her family kept getting priced out of gentrifying neighborhoods in New Jersey. She said that they were destined to be forever displaced in the USA. Displaced in the USA. You know, the place that Black people built, but we're still not getting any liberation. Then Trayvon Martin was shot and killed after buying a bag of Skittles and a can of iced tea. In Ghana, where Cambon is involved in a program that encourages descendants of the African diaspora to return to a nation where centuries earlier their ancestors were forced onto slave ships. He said he is one of several thousand. Cambon rejects a descriptor such as Black American or African American that identify him to the U.S. In Trinidad and Tobago, where Drayton works in her home office, where she has a view of the ocean and hummingbirds flocking above the pool, she says, I don't have to think of myself as a Black woman. She says this because she's just a woman there. She's just Tiffany. Black immigrants who said that they feel cornered and powerless in the face of persistent racism, police brutality, and economic struggles in the U.S. and chose to settle and pursue their American-born dreams abroad. They did so because they would never be liberated here in the U.S. USA Today, June 26, 2020, blackexpats.com. Family, we're never going to find liberation in the U.S., even though we have built this because thank you, because the laws were not made for us. The economy is not made for us. We're never going to be anything else except for labor and slaves. That's it. I yield.
All right, all right, all right. Shout out to the sister for that very powerful premise. We're gonna pass this rock now over to Rio. Rio, it is on you. You have 10 minutes to do your thing whenever you're ready.
All right, cool. I'm about to share my screen. So hold on 1 second. I still hear like some background noise. You mind muting for me?
That's probably me. Yeah, that's probably me.
All right, here we go. All right, so let's get started. All right, so I want to start here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, the majority of my research and sources coming from the Pew Research Center. Now, this debate, okay, it's more than just fear porn. It's more than just being desensitized on a mental level. Let's look at what the numbers say, because the question that's underlining this entire thing is feeling connected to the Black community, things of that nature. So before we even leave, like, she only gave you isolated stories, but this is a mass exodus. The debate is not should one person or singularity, but we're talking in totality. So let's look at what the research says. Okay, this is something that was done by Pew Research Center. This is the question they pose. Most Black adults feel at least somewhat connected to a broader Black community in the U.S. Okay, very is 36%. Somewhat is 45%. Not too much is 12%, and not at all is 6%. So before we can even address exiting, first we have to address that even within this country, there is a divide amongst ourselves. Okay. Even right here, before we leave, we have to come together here on the mental place first. Look at this. We already divided here. The liberation have to take place here, because if we leave as is, wherever we go, we're just going to create another ghetto. We're just going to create a facsimile of a copy of what we are. We can leave America, but we'll take it with us, and in due time, we'll end up damaging whatever paradise we find, whatever utopia we find. We'll end up poisoning it. Watch this now. Let's keep moving. This one says Black adults who feel very connected to a broader Black community are more likely to be involved with an organization that help Black people. Now watch this now. Those that felt somewhat connected made a financial contribution. This ain't got nothing to do with somebody being a slave or you liberated. The events of the past didn't stop people that felt connected to Black people to make a financial contribution. Why she didn't show you that? Why is it that we always have to be bombarded with just the other side of the coin? Why do we have to keep getting the short end of the stick? Why do people insist on making us, you, me, him, her, feel like we're less Black unless we're willing to pack up and leave and disregard what we have already here? 43%, very connected. The people that feel very connected, they do something about it, Holleigh. They make financial contributions, but those don't even feel connected. There's only 22%. And you can go down. Those that feel very connected, they attend an event. 33% volunteer their time, and 58% that feel very connected do any of the three activities. I know that these are not just baseless numbers because I do them myself, but it's amazing. I feel something right now that out of all of this, I don't see here on the survey where they say people that feel tapped into the broader Black community in the U.S. There is no data saying, hey, we need to leave. That we feel it so deep within our soul that we got to get the hell out of here. It's not there, Holleigh. Let's continue. Black adults are more likely than other groups to see their race or ethnicity as central to their identity. And now we're getting into the meat of it. White folk don't even care. You know what I'm saying? So even within these numbers, you see the trick. They want to keep feeding you that. They want to keep force feeding you this to keep you paralyzed mentally, paralyze you to make you feel like you can't do nothing. That the only option is to leave, which goes back to plantation politics, where at the end of the Civil War, the South began to give certain black people trades and certain black people jobs because they wanted to disperse these Africans from having communities. The same thing we see here. When the truth of the matter is, most black people already feel like what they're doing in their life is extremely important and is directly connected to Africa or to their black heritage. This is what the data suggests, but let's continue. Because our elder, El Haj Malik El Shabazz, other known as Malcolm X, he says that education is our passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. And I agree. Now, Holleigh, the question is, if we're not liberated, then you have to explain to me if there's a limit on our thought patterns, on our behavior, on we have this severely restricted noose or invisible chains that's preventing us from moving higher up the economic ladder or our lot here, even as you so eloquently put it, that they felt displaced in America. Well, why these people don't feel displaced? The Pew Research Center says roughly a quarter of black adults have a bachelor's degree or higher. That's great news. We should be applauding these people, but you don't put that out there because you want everybody to think we're stuck in the ghetto. You want everybody to think that we're on the side of the bridge, pissing in the corner, begging for a hamburger or a cheese sandwich. No, love. 44% have graduated high school, 33% have got some college, and 23% got a bachelor's degree. This is called progress. It didn't start off like that, but it's continuing. Watch this now. Black bachelor's degree holders have doubled since 2000, Holleigh. You know what that means? That means that we are already in the throngs and the woes of liberated. Yeah. That means that the baton has been passed down from our ancestors here. See, you showed the picture of the Middle Passage, but the story does not end there. You showed pictures and you talked about the historical references, but it's amazing to me that even with all the things you named, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, it didn't stop these black bachelors to double their efforts. Good God Almighty. And then you can see right here, the dark green, but you also see masters and higher. Look at these numbers. You can't do this if you're not liberated, right? They didn't have to leave here to do that, right? I commend these brothers and sisters, but let's look at it, Holleigh, because according to you, we're in Dante's Inferno, the fifth circle of hell. But right here, the Pew Research said that black population has grown by 29% since 2000. And you're going to see why this is important in just a second. Watch this right here. Let's continue. Among the U.S. black population, multiracial and Hispanic numbers have grown since 2000. And we're almost getting to the minutia of the debate. So now we have 46,800,000 black people. I was hoping that you would tell us just exactly how are we supposed to get 46,800,000 black people out of America. You didn't provide no type of data, no type of ship, no type of plane. You just gave us people's isolated examples of happiness they found abroad, and I commend them. But you're talking about the explosion of an entire people with culture, mores. Oh, Lord have mercy. You're talking about a people that have contributed so much, and you make it seem like we can just pack our bags and leave for the weekend and come back. No, it's a little deeper than that. Let's continue. The reason I put those numbers out first, Holleigh, because I want you to see the trick here. See, I had to give you those numbers first to show you that we already liberated. But this is where you really begin to understand the argument why we don't have to leave. Because according to the Pew Research Center, for the first time, the number of Americans who identify as white decline between 2010 and 2020, which means what, Holleigh? That the other side, the same people that you were just glorifying, because what you recognize, you energize. I'll say it again for those listening. What you recognize, you energize. You put all these white people up there and said what they did and make them seem so powerful, but you didn't let the people know that they're steadily dying at such a hellacious rate. And these are the numbers, and they are frightened because we keep multiplying. We're doubling our numbers, and the white population is steady declining. Let's go. know, this is another thing that goes with that. It say nearly half of whites say a majority non-white population will weaken American culture. They're afraid, Holleigh. They want you to leave because they know in just a little bit by 2050, they ain't going to be the majority anymore. So you're going to leave. And then by 2050, all the progress we've made, who you going to give it to? The Hispanics? We have a stake here too, Holleigh. They're afraid. Look, it will weaken the economy. But black people say, no, we feel like it'll strengthen us. Some people say it'll have little impact. But let's continue. This is the optimistic about the future. White people is not, they pessimistic. But black people are not, because they know sooner or later we just keep pushing. We keep fighting. We keep making our strange to better ourselves, to educate our children, to love each other, to say no to drugs, to turn away, from destroying the household, the pimps, the pushers, the gangs, and all of this. And we really cultivate black love. Is not just an idea, not just something cool to talk about on YouTube, but really activating it inside our household on a consistent basis, evidence in our children and the culture, and we getting the blood, sweat, and tears. It may not happen in our lifetime, but that's okay, because it's not just about me. It's not just about you, Holleigh. It's about the next generation. It's about the kids. It's about the next generation, not just us. We can't become so intellectually isolated in our thinking patterns. But to drive it home even further, over a third of the U.S. black population is 22 years or younger. That means they're coming. That means that we have a ripe demographics of black people that's hungry, that want it, Holleigh. They ain't talking about leaving. And why would you leave when all the gains of economic, watch this, economic pay setters, the growth in majority-owned female businesses, black females, 67%. Did you know that, Holleigh?
Time.
Did you know you didn't have to leave to do that? Now you tell me, how does black women own 67% of the firms according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the survey of business owners, and they contribute to 15% of the sales? That's more than white female, 14%. Do you see that?
All right. Shout out to Rio. We're going to get back with the rebuttal round right after this brief intermission, family. This is the Solar Vision Debate League.
You're not hating, Manny. You're not hating, Manny. Hating, Manny. You're not hating, Manny. You're not hating, Manny. Hating, Manny. You're not hating, Manny. You're not hating, Manny. Hating, Manny. You're not hating, Manny. You're not hating, Manny. Hating, Manny. You ain't nowhere in my category. Mandatory for me to tell you that you were very boring. And the moral of the story, I wish I could just ignore you, but they gotta bury your body, put you in the crematorium. And I'm the only audio inside the auditorium. And when I'm finished with you will not have no memorial. You wanna be Luigi, but you're not ready for Mario. And no scenario, running circles around your cardio. And that's a body blow, it's not a secret. Everybody know that you ain't coming close. I leave you comatose, and you become a ghost. I overdose, I gotta overload. That's when the windows of heaven open up for me with the overflow. And I can feel the power moving within every last chromosome. Battle right around the corner, you already know it's on. Understand me, you're not hating, Manny. You're not hating, Manny. Woo!
This is the Solar Vision Debate League, and we are now heading into the rebuttal round. We're going to start out with Sister Holleigh. It's your time to rebut. Cameras are on. Whenever you're ready, sister, you can begin your rebuttal. You got 10 minutes.
First and foremost, you can put that Holy Ghost away because he can't help you now. But let me ask you a question. You were talking about the black women that were business owners, right?
Yeah, I think this is the rebuttal.
This is the rebuttal. This is not the rapid fire round, sister. This is the rebuttal.
Me.
So you're just rebutting his information.
My opponent said that that I was keeping black people in the ghettos, but he failed to mention that black people didn't create ghettos, that the government created ghettos. And he was speaking on me bringing up events of the past. And I showed in my information that it's not the events of the past, that these are the events of the current and possibly our future here in America. This has been the foundation for the U.S. It is about keeping us enslaved. Somebody's got to be on the bottom. And the dream of this liberation and us being free and living our lives. I mean, he said, he quoted Maya Angelou, and I beg to differ. I mean, she's saying in there herself, like, why do we have to conform to be a accepted in white America, in the U.S.? We have made strides here in the U.S., and the results are still the same. 1862 looks the exact same as 2022. My opponent also brought up a whole bunch of statistics about how Black people were really dedicated to the United States and staying here. But statistics show you whatever it is that they want to show you. He didn't show you the number of Black people that know that there will never be a liberation here in the United States and that are making a Black sick, that they are getting here. No, my information didn't show just a few isolated cases. It shows the Black people in the United States that have the mindset to get out. Yeah, I didn't show that there was a boat or a plane that was going to take us up out of here. But the reason is because everybody doesn't have the same mindset. I mean, one day, hopefully, all of our people will be on board and we can get up out of here. Because, like I said, I mean, there is no liberation here. When it was written into the Emancipation Proclamation that freed us, at that point we were supposed to be liberated. But I mean, my opponent didn't show you where, after it was written, that we were truly liberated. I mean, when you turn on the news, you can see there's no liberation there. Like I said, I mean, the young brother, Anthony Baguette, who says he fit the description. When you walk out of your door every day, you fit the description. That's not liberation. There's chains on your mind, yes, but I mean, there's still chains on your body. My opponent wants you to feel like, there's some freedom here for people that are melanated, and there's not. There will not be, because the U.S. was founded on us not being free. From the time that the first ship got here in 1619, they said, what are we going to do with these people? And it was to put us at the bottom and to keep us there. The laws have been enacted to keep us at the bottom. There is no liberation. How do you account for, so many Black people being killed with impunity if we are liberated? I mean, that's really what I would like to know. I mean, in the rebuttal, hopefully he'll answer that. Excuse me, in the rapid fire. And you also brought up bachelor's degrees. I mean, but so we're able to get an education. What are we going to do with that education if we can't get jobs to keep us living at a decent level in the United States? Well, that's what the reason the laws are set up, is to keep us down. Like I said, my opponent is not showing you anything about us being liberated. He got on his Southern Baptist preacher and was hoping that his tone could lull us to sleep. It did for me. I mean, I don't know if it did for you. I'm sure you sleep out there. But yeah, I just really feel like it's, an appeal to ignorance more than anything else. He's trying to pull at your heartstrings and, keep you tied to a place that doesn't love you. And My apologies. How are we ever going to get any further? You know, bringing back up education when student loan debts are, you know, they're tacked on, and these are something that'll never go away. And you didn't bring that out when you when you brought out these up numbers of bachelor's degree in 2020. I mean, where is the real freedom if the United States is trying to keep us locked in the ghettos? Where's the real freedom? Where's the real liberation if they are not giving us competitive wages? Where is the real freedom if, again, they are killing us with impunity? Where is the real freedom if we don't have the ability to, I mean, even to raise our children? I mean, that's why we need to leave the US, so that we can find liberation, we can find freedom, we can find economic freedom elsewhere. Right? He's just giving you a bunch of numbers, and he's just giving you, you know, heartstring tugs. That's it, and that's all. Like, what is he proving? We're not liberated here. I yield my time.
All right. Shout out to the sister. We're gonna keep this thing rocking and rolling, family. Minister How, it is on you. Whenever you're ready, you can begin your rebuttal. Unmute your mic, brother.
Cool. So let's do this. I want to start with just in the past, right? Holleigh, you went on your round. You started from the beginning. But even just now in your rebuttal, you said back in 1865, when the Emancipation Proclamation, when they freed us, you just said that just right now, immediately. So if we're sticking just on a very simplistic level, the definition of liberation, okay, that we both read, it said free from imprisonment, slavery, and oppression. By the definition of itself, you was freed. Your people was freed. You said that back then don't look no different than right now in 2022. But I'm looking at you right now, Holleigh. You looking at me right now. If it looks the same, then why we still not chattel slavery? Why we still not picking cotton? Why right now you have the ability to do what it is that you're doing? That I can do what I'm doing. Solar can do what he doing. It doesn't even make logical sense. Okay? Everybody knows that right now is nowhere near how it was back then. And it's not just me saying it. This is historical record that these have been gains. And the whole point of it all, Holleigh, is this. If what you're saying is true, then black people would still be stifled. There would be no gains in no sector, in no area of black expertise, no renaissance. We would not have been able to produce the things that we see black people doing, because that upward mobility would not have been there or have been accessible. Now, to further substantiate that point, when we look at the word liberation, it also said freedom in thought and in mind. Holleigh, if we had limitations on our mind, if that was a true statement, then I can understand why you're taking a shot at the bachelors. I can understand why you're taking a shot at the educational system, because it would make sense. But it doesn't make sense, because back then, when we wasn't liberated, Holleigh, you wasn't able to even read a book. You wasn't even able to do any of those things. They would kill you for trying to learn. They would kill you for doing anything that had to do with you improving your mental faculty. They would kill you for that. The proof that we've been liberated, even in that aspect, is the fact that we're able to produce scholars, that we're able to produce doctors. This ain't me pulling on your heartstring. This is me pointing you to a psychological truth that's right in front of you. Maybe you haven't moved. Maybe your mind is still stuck within the paradox of fear and feeling like the white man still got his foot on your neck and things still as bad as they were. But I would encourage you to just look around, sister. Look around at everything that's going on. You thought it would be a good strategy to come against me and begin to talk about these isolated individuals of expats and these people that have went abroad. And I have to call to the judge's attention right now that not once did you explain to the people what is an expat. What does it mean for expatriation? What is permanent residency? Not once did you go into what it was going to take. You made fun of me talking about, I didn't say anything about a plane. I didn't say, well, you should have, because we need to know how we going to leave this place. But don't worry, I looked it up for you. You look like you fly Delta. So when I looked up the price from here to Africa, a one-way ticket is $4,000 and some change. Now let's do the math, Holleigh. And I shouldn't have to do your job for you because this is you, the affirmative. You said we got to leave. You were supposed to give us a plan. You're the one pulling on our heartstrings. But it's invisible because you're using an antiquated thread, an antiquated cord. We move past that. If it's almost 50 million black people here, and if one-way ticket to Africa is 4,000, how much money is that, Holleigh? Oh, and it gets better. Did you know, Holleigh, the paperwork you got to fill out when you leave here? Do you know you just can't up and leave? It's only $2,500. And you said all the black people think like that. I can prove it to you. The business women, 31% of black women that own these businesses, Holleigh, they only contributed to a small portion of the $1.5 trillion spending that black people have. I can prove that the majority of black people not thinking about leaving here because it only costs $2,500 to renounce your citizenship. You don't see nobody lining up. As soon as they get that check, they buying weave, they buying hair, we buying cars, we buying iPhones, we doing all these things that have Americanized us. Ain't nobody spending that money to leave. 1.5 trillion. We should have been gone. But it speaks to a deeper truth. It speaks to the dichotomy of the mind of what people are here. We ain't running. Another study said most people become expatriates because they're tired of fighting. Well, you ain't speaking to that demographics, Holleigh, because we ain't tired of fighting. We still hear the cries of our ancestors. We still hear the beat of the drum. There's still work to be done here, but I got you. Watch this. There's a lady, okay? Nah, I'll start here. There's a white professor in Canada, Holleigh, that disagrees with you. I looked it up while you was talking to make it seem like racism only exists in America, when you know racism against black people is a global phenomenon. The white professor name is Simon Black at Brock University in Ontario. He said Canada was not free from slavery. They had their own version of Jim Crow. Why didn't you tell the people that? Huh? Why didn't you tell the people about the Young Street Rebellion that took place in Canada in the early 90s? In 2015, when black bodies was killed by the state, why you didn't tell them? Why you didn't tell them about black expat experience living abroad? There was an article published by someone named Ruth Terry in back last year, 7/23/2020, and you can look at it. Just type in black expat living experiences abroad. This is what she said, Holleigh. She said, as a black and Puerto Rican woman, that she was used to adapting to the expectations of a dominant culture group of people that didn't look like me. But she said, I found out that even when I left, I still had to deal with white expat privilege. And this is where the devil is really in the details, because you make people believe because you leave America, you're done dealing with white supremacy. You fail to tell the people that it's not only black expats, you got white expats too. White people who leave America to live abroad. And guess what they take with them, Holleigh? They take with them that white privilege. They take with them the white racism. You can go ahead and move to Costa Rica, but when you get there, it's going to be some white expat that still have the mind of America, that still look at you as a second-class citizen. When you get to wherever you go over this globe, you're still going to have to deal with it. You're still going to have to deal with it. one way or another. It don't just end within the confines and the hells of North America. This is a global phenomenon. The slave trade was worldwide. We have become a cultural phenomenon. These black people, these marginalized people that the whole world watch and want to know, how do we keep surviving? How do we keep making it out of the worst conditions? Because we have the spirit and the will to fight. Holleigh, you didn't give us any information. And you didn't rebut any of the information that I gave about white fragility and how the white people see that their race is declining. We don't have to leave because we're steady going up. And we just stay the course. Just keep going up. Eventually, we're going to be exactly where we need to be. We just got to stay in the race. I'm really saddened because I thought you was going to bring more information to at least convince us outside of just piggybacking off familiar narratives. Because I can count on one hand right now. I know millionaires. I know people with money just here in Atlanta. I have friends with businesses right now, and they liberated. They not slaves. I started my own business too. I'm not a slave. My mind is not in chains and shackles. And my final thing is, if it's that bad, Holleigh, why you still here? Why haven't you left? Trayvon wasn't enough for you? George Floyd wasn't enough for you? I'm pretty sure you got $2,500. If it's that bad, why you still here? Why haven't you left? Because everything I'm saying, I'm living it right here, right now. Not just talking it. I'm living revolutionary right now. And everything I do, I'm living it. I put myself on the front line. You on the computer, just expounding fear porn. Lead by example. If it's really that bad here, you should be the first one signing up. But don't get us to do the dirty work. And it's just not for you. This is for everybody that has a similar inkling of thought. If it's that bad, why you still here? Why haven't you left? What are you still holding on to? Haven't the white man done enough damage according to you? Haven't he killed enough according to you? Isn't the bloodshed up to your kneecaps? You can't sleep. The screams of the sirens, the gunshots. Why are you still here? Because in your heart, you don't want to leave either. And you know you leaving would be a dramatic last case scenario. And if you know that, all I ask is have a little integrity and honesty. And don't push us off the cliff. You're not willing to jump first. I yield the rest of my time.
All right. We're going to get to this rapid fire round, which should be very interesting, family. Right after this brief intermission. This is the league, man. Let's get it. Solar Vision Debate League presents Season 4, The Year of the Woman, Emancipation Proclamation.
Did the NOI have an impact on Public Enemy?
Of course they had an impact on Public Enemy, but does that make it right?
Does Public Enemy represent the black community?
No, they don't.
What?
Sister Nandy, First Lady of the Solar Vision Debate League.
Back then were privately owned.
Sandy, listen to what I'm saying.
Government
prior to this act being passed, were black people allowed to go and sit anywhere? Yes or no?
They're still not allowed to go and sit anywhere
yes
now.
Or no, Nandy?
You want me to sum that up in 30 seconds?
So where is the members from Public Enemy from? Where are they from?
Chuck D somewhere being a motherfucking communist and a sellout. Professor Griffith's here. And
I asked you as kids.
You asked me where were the members. Then you just asked me where were the members. Did you not just ask me where were the members? So you gonna let me answer the question or you gonna answer it for me?
No, where they from?
And Flavor Flav somewhere on a damn show calling it the Flavor of Love, trying to get some wisdom from white people.
Listen.
Nandy with the smooth jab and dip. They issue a public apology.
I don't care what they issue publicly.
So that means, you know what that means? That means that they don't stand on segregation. That's what that means. You're a liar.
All white restaurant.
And if you don't get it together and drop these macho attitudes, you are never gonna have anybody bringing you anything, anywhere, any place, anytime, ever.
Still not down, and they still
no.
not down.
Did you say no? Okay, cool.
You said were they able to
time out. Woo, I'm trying my best. In the name of Jesus, you're gonna make the minister come back out. Girl, listen. After the civil rights movement,
need to dig up Jesus tonight.
No, you got all type of thing going on with you right now.
You finna be nailed to your cross.
Forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Have you ever heard of the Million Man March?
I don't care anything about that plagiarized crowd.
It don't matter if you. I don't care if you like it or not.
Yes, I've heard about it. I've actually been to the marches. I've actually participated in the Million Woman March.
Okay, so was it?
And it was all for publicity. Don't ask me no question. And I can't.
Hold on.
What benefits did the Million Man March do? And I'll tell you. What benefit?
Knowledge of self. Do for self.
Knowledge of self. Walking down the street, getting dogs and billy clubs and water hoses across your head. That's knowledge of self.
Sister Nandy is coming with a boatload of haymakers. Oh, caught Madon connect with the main left hook. It's going to be hard for Madon to recover from that punch.
You
are a liar.
I apologize a lot, but what has changed?
Yes, you can go to the Arby's. That's what changed. You can go to the Arby's. That's what changed.
Judicial system still segregated. Convict leasing still going on. What do we give a what do we care about their apologies?
This is 2-piece by Sister Nandy.
You have to answer the question within
private owners were not included in that. So if I'm a white person and I have a restaurant and I want to not let somebody eat in my restaurant, I still have that right.
In the context of the debate.
Operation Emancipation Proclamation, Season 4, The Year of the Woman.
Yes, family, this is the Solar Vision Debate League, and we are now heading into the rapid fire round. We're going to start out with Sister Holleigh. Cameras are on. You have 10 minutes to interrogate Minister Howe. Whenever you're ready, sister, you could begin your interrogation.
All right, Rio. You said that Black people were in the ghettos. Did the government create ghettos?
What you say now? The conditions in America created ghettos, yeah. And I didn't say all Black people was in ghettos.
Well, that's interesting because you keep making generalizations throughout your argument. So how was that not? How was I supposed to know that that wasn't just another generalization? But I'll move on.
That's not a generalization.
So the events of the past, they don't look like what's currently happening here.
No, not at all. No.
How's that when Black people are still being lynched in 2020, 2021, 2022?
Okay. Can you show me any evidence that you provided of lynchings taking place in 21 and 2022? You didn't show any of that information.
You do realize that I ask you answer, right?
Listen, I understand all of that, but it's within the context of the argument that you made.
What is the average household income for Black people?
Right now, I believe it's the median. I think it's like around 45,000. I think for Black people. I think
is that below the poverty line?
I'm not sure what the poverty line.
I'll help you. The answer is yes.
Okay, cool.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
So, Black people are free from imprisonment, right?
Yeah, we are free from imprisonment.
So that means that laws have not been created to physically imprison us against us, correct?
Well, that's a red herring statement. You're drawing false equivalence. The imprisonment that you're talking about is in context with slavery.
What you're trying to tell me?
No, what I'm telling you is that within the context of the debate and liberation, that's tied in with slavery, imprisonment from that connotation.
Liberation. You and I both read the definition of liberation. Let me help you out.
Freedom,
Liberation is the act of
slavery.
setting someone free from imprisonment, slavery, or oppression to
Yeah.
release. It's
Yeah.
freedom from limits on thought or behavior.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, let me ask you,
Mm-hmm.
are Black people free from imprisonment?
Yes.
You're being disingenuous, but I'll
No,
move
I'm not
on.
being.
Are
Hey, do
Black
you want me to
people's minds
tell
still
you why I'm saying
shackled?
it?
Are Black
I can
people's
tell you
minds still
why.
shackled?
No, you said that we still physically
Are Black
shackled.
people's minds still shackled?
No.
Again, you're being disingenuous.
No, Black people minds are not shackled.
Do you know that the majority of Black people, because you use that word, you know the majority of Black people?
Do I know a majority of Black people?
I'm sorry, did you not understand? Do I need to repeat it?
No, it's some like beeping noise going on in your background. It was distracting me, so you could repeat it for me, please.
No problem. Do you know the majority of Black people?
I know what the numbers suggest for the majority of Black people.
Okay,
You
so
can't
those
take it out of
numbers,
context. We have to deal with.
those numbers can't be tweaked in the favor of an argument.
No, those numbers were not tweaked. You would have to show evidence that those numbers were tweaked, and those numbers suggest
No,
that the
that's
majority of
not my
Black people.
job.
Come on, man.
This is about the liberation of Black people in the U.S.
Exactly.
So, what is beneficial for Black people to stay?
Now, are you going to allow me to answer this, or are you going to cut me off as soon as I begin? I need at least 15 seconds.
You got it.
Thank you. It's beneficial for Black people to stay here because, as the numbers suggest and the historical record proves, Black people have steadily been climbing up and moving forward and moving forward. Why would we stop the progress that we're making? You're making it seem as like we're still at point zero.
We are.
No,
Just
we're
because
not.
we are.
No,
You
you're
brought
being
up
disingenuous. No,
in
we're
your
not.
argument. You brought up in your argument
lie,
about
Holleigh. We're
bachelor's
not.
degrees, right?
You're not at the bottom.
So, do you know that a white man with 4 years of high school can make over $200,000 in his lifetime, and a Black man here in the U.S. can, with 5 or more years of college, expect to earn less than that?
Well, I don't know where you're
I'll
getting
give
the
you the
numbers from.
exact numbers:
Listen, I don't know where you're getting those numbers
253,000
from,
and
and I don't see how that's.
246,000 for a
I
Black
don't
man.
see how that
Did you
strengthens
know
your
that?
argument.
Did you know that? So
That
the
doesn't
rise
strengthen your
of
argument, Holleigh. You just throwing things out there.
of those college degrees for Black people in the U.S. Obviously, it does nothing for our liberation, right?
That's not true. That's a false statement. That's false equivalence.
How? When you
And
go
it doesn't help
to
your
5 or
argument
more
because the
years of
argument
college,
is you have to prove that what you're saying is in comparison to Black people leaving, and you have not showed that leaving would better the education.
No.
You have to show that.
I'm showing you exactly what I'm supposed to be showing you.
Nah,
Again,
Holleigh, that's not how this goes.
you answer what I asked.
Okay, let's go.
Did you know that in Mississippi, still to this day, I'm sorry, excuse me, till the 90s, the Black people were still picking cotton?
You have to show those numbers. You didn't present that in your argument. So I don't know where you're getting that from. You would have to show that.
That was a yes or no question.
No, if I'm saying you're pulling information that's non sequitur to the
Do you know
debate.
that you were talking about citizenships? You know that Black people can get dual citizenships in Ghana?
Do you have dual citizenship?
It's not your turn.
Got you.
You know that you brought up your study about Black people wanting to stay in the U.S., right? Did you find one about how many Black people want to leave?
I can't make your argument for you.
That was a yes
That's
or no
your
question.
argument.
That was a yes or no question.
No, that's not my job.
Oh, okay. Right.
That's your job.
I did.
What numbers? You didn't put any numbers of anything. You showed 3 people. I showed you data for millions of Black people. Come on, man.
Again, you're talking about studies. So those studies don't show what it needs to show, right? What
I don't know what
they need, what you need them to show, right?
No, I don't know what that means. I don't. This is a subjective debate. I don't have any
It is.
specific thing
It
to show.
is. It
I'm
is
just
very
showing you what the numbers
subjective.
prove.
So, Black people fighting to stay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did enslaved Africans run for freedom?
Did enslaved Africans run for freedom? What do you mean in the context of abolition? And what do you mean, the Underground Railroad? Like, what do you mean exactly?
If Black people were fighting for liberation, did slaves run for freedom?
Yeah, all those were acts of liberation. Underground Railroad, the abolitionist movement, Nat Turner, all of these are examples of liberation.
How were they? How are we liberated?
How? Look at,
How?
I mean, just so you deny the numbers on Black women successful owning businesses. They couldn't do that. And even if I stuck with the women's liberation movement, women couldn't vote.
They did. So Black women,
They couldn't vote. They got liberated. Now they
Black
got
women
rights.
successfully owning businesses is a part of your argument.
That's
But
a direct correlation to being free.
The household medium for Black people is under the poverty line.
Yeah, but you're not telling people what is the number of Black people. I got you. You're not telling people what is the number of Black people that's above the poverty line, and that's the problem with your argument.
Can we control the system?
What now?
Can we control the system?
We can control our system. Yes, we can. Of course we can.
So we're living in a bubble within a system, is what you're
Yes,
what you're
we're
saying?
a nation within a nation.
No.
Of course we are. Yeah, of course we are.
No,
you're stuck in 1800 somewhere.
Are we oppressed?
I don't know what's going on right now.
Have we been oppressed?
We have been oppressed, but we're not as
still
oppressed as we were.
Okay, so we're not as oppressed. So you're saying that we are still oppressed. We're just not as
around
oppressed.
the world.
We're just not
Oppression
as
exists around the
But
world.
we're not talking about around the world. We're talking about in the U.S.
In the U.S., people are not as oppressed as they were. There have been
oppressed?
changes.
Are we oppressed?
Not how we were. There's progress being made, and we didn't have to leave here.
So that means
we didn't have to leave America to get some relief. Did we, Holly? We didn't have to leave to get some relief.
So you're saying that there's been some relief. The oppressor's taken its boot off of the neck of Black people, right?
You ain't got no shackles on you. Stop acting like you still a slave.
Time. All right. Shout out to Sister Holly. It's on you, Rio. Whenever you're ready. Cameras are on.
Yeah. Cool. So, what's your slave name? I mean, because I don't know if I'm talking. You got me feeling like the Mandela effect, like I'm back in time or something. Like you don't know you free. But let's deal with it, Holly, because it's your turn now. Holly, if I wanted to leave America, what steps would I have to take to expatriate myself?
Get up and leave.
So you don't know. So that's my point exactly. And that's the problem I have with this. I respect everything, your scholarship and all of that, but that's the problem that I have. And I want the judges to know.
Is there a
her
question?
answer was no, Holly, it's my turn. Get up and leave. I want the people to hear that. Just get up and leave. Okay, cool. So Holly, can you tell me, well, I'll just say it this way. In order to leave, I would have to go to the U.S. Embassy, the consulate, right? And I would have to fill out some forms. For those that's in the audience listening right now, that's on your side, that say, hey, we got to get the hell out of here. Can you please tell them, your audience that believe like you, can you tell them what forms that they need to fill out? Go ahead and click on it. Go ahead. I know. And this is what I'm talking about right here. You're not prepared for this debate because you don't know. You clicking on it right now. I got you, sister. I tell you, because you don't know. It's DS 4079 4080 4081 4082 4083, and you also have to fill out a certificate of loss of nationality, and you have to submit a payment of $2,300 and $50, and you will after that receive a certificate after you lose your nationality. Now, why didn't you tell the people everything that they have to do?
So are you giving a sermon? Or are you asking?
No, I'm asking you. No, what I'm asking you is, it's already clear that you didn't know the forms a black person would have to file to leave. You didn't know how much it costs. So my question to you is, how you just gonna get up and leave? Can you just walk me through? Just get up and go.
Okay, so the debate is, should black people leave for liberation, not the
Stop
process.
right there. Stop
so
right. Stop
not
right.
the process.
No.
of
Time
leaving.
out. No, we're not doing that, Holly. Now, I've tried my best to contain my passion and vigor, but I have to give up the ghost right now. If the debate is should black people leave that or separate, it's your job to tell them what separation entails, just like I have to give them the information of why they should stay. Now, I'm asking you, why didn't you know what it actually takes to separate and actually leave and become an expat? Go.
Because that's not the question at hand. My
It is
job
the
was to
question at
give
hand.
the reason
No, because you
why
didn't
you
know.
should go.
Can you be honest and say that you just didn't know? Ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't know everything. Can you just be honest with the people and say, I didn't know all of that? Be honest.
I'm sorry. I'm very confused here.
All right, cool.
I didn't know
I'm
this
moving on.
was
I
Sunday
got you.
service.
I'm moving on. I got you, Holly.
There we go. Thank you.
No, it's fine. You just mentally died in front of the world, but it's fine. Listen.
Okay.
We
I'm
went
waiting
back
on
to
a
it.
question.
You started by showing the Middle Passage and the slave ships, correct?
I did.
Correct. When Nat Turner killed those white people on the plantation, was that an act of liberation, yes or no?
No.
I'm going to ask you again.
The answer will be the same.
I got you. I'm going to ask you one more time. When Nat Turner, first of all, did Nat Turner start a rebellion, yes or no?
It really depends on what your definition of a rebellion
Okay, I got
would be.
you. You slick. Yo, you one of them. Okay, I got you. You real slick with it. So guess what? I'm gonna get slick too. Watch this. According to the historical record, on the record, does it say that Nat Turner started a rebellion, yes or no?
The record phrases it like that, yes.
Now, is an act of rebellion, is that considered liberation?
What Nat Turner didn't liberate anybody, including
Is
himself.
it an act of liberation, yes or no?
It's an act of protest. No.
And protest is an act of liberated people. I got you.
Absolutely
We
not.
playing. Okay, cool. So let's
What
stick
if
to
protesting done for us?
period. I'm going to
What is
read it for you.
protesting done for us?
Is it true, Holly, in December 1865, when the 13th Amendment was adopted as a part of the United States Constitution that you so eloquently paraded before our face tonight? Did the amendment abolish slavery, yes or no?
Was slavery still
Take your
happening?
time.
Was
Did
slavery
the
still
13th
happening
Amendment
after the
abolish slavery,
ratification?
yes or no?
Did slavery still exist after the ratification?
The black people in America.
Let me help you.
The 13th Amendment. No, you can't help me. It's
The
my
answer is
turn.
no.
You can't
The
help me,
answer-
Holly.
the answer is
Just
no.
answer the question. Did the 13th
Words on
Amendment?
paper and actions, two different
Is
things.
yes or no?
I just
Is yes or
told you,
no?
no, it didn't.
Okay, cool. I got you. Stay right there. Because now the record is about to cut you every which way but loose.
It's words.
Immediately, I got you. Immediately after
it was
the
just
13th
words.
Amendment, how
Man.
many enslaved people was free after that? How many went free immediately?
Texas.
How many people?
June 19th, Texas.
How many people?
We were the last to know here in Texas.
That doesn't have anything to do with the people. Time out, Holleigh. You don't get to do that. We're not about to argue immediate gratification versus delayed gratification. No, Holleigh, you got to have some decorum. No, Holleigh, you can't do that. It was 100,000 people that was immediately freed after the 13th Amendment was put in place, but you didn't know
how many were still enslaved?
It was 100,000 free immediately.
How many were there?
Holleigh,
100,000. Is that not a drop in the bucket?
Immediately, a drop in the bucket is still a drop. It's still a drop. If you was thirsty, you would want somebody, even if they had a drop of waters, put your tongue out. It's still something.
Here we go with the sermon again.
No, it's not a sermon. What it is, it shows this inclusivity of the mind to not push past these societal norms. That's what it shows. But let's move forward.
The norm, is it not?
Holleigh,
enslavement of black people? Was that not the
is there a shackle? Holleigh, hey, look, is there a shackle on your mental process? Yes or no?
Is there a shackle on yours?
Holleigh, I love your sarcasm. I love your fire, but that's not going to win you the debate. I'm asking you a simple question. According to the definition of liberation, do you have the freedom to think what you want to think? Yes or no?
No.
That's a lie, Holleigh. Why are you doing that?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so if you don't have the freedom to think, that means that somebody is thinking for you?
Yeah, that would be the colonizer.
No. Stop right there. I got you.
That would be the colonizer.
You walking the plank right now. So did the colonizer think for you tonight? Did the colonizer put together your debate?
Yeah, that's where all my information came from.
No, y'all, do you see what's happening? Do you see it? So you telling me the white man put your PowerPoint together tonight?
The white man gave me the information to put my
PowerPoint did the white man tonight. Okay, cool. Did the white man tell you to wear that pink shirt with Queen on it? Did he influence you? Did he say, put that shirt on? Because I'm controlling your thoughts. Did he do that for you?
The white man can make laws to come in here and say that my pink Queen shirt is illegal.
Not what he could do. Holleigh, not hypotheticals. I'm asking you, did he do it? Did the white man log into a StreamYard for you? So basically, I got you. Thank you, Jesus. Are you a robot?
They're making them pretty realistic nowadays.
Holleigh, please stop, because now you starting to spook me. I don't want to talk to AI. I don't want to debate a robot solely. You didn't set me up. I'm battling the android. No, Holleigh, don't tell me you got all type of contraptions in the back of your head like the Matrix. Holleigh, did you log on and did you think for yourself to join the Solar Vision Debate League, or did the white man tell you to do it? Right, you thought for yourself, right?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Oh, you heard me loud and clear.
Oh, no, I didn't.
I'm not about to keep wrestling with you over something that's so simple. The point is, and I want the judges to know, she's denying that she has freedom, mobility of thinking. She just admitted that she doesn't have. Do you have control of your thoughts? Yes or no?
No.
You don't have control of your thoughts, Holleigh? Holleigh, you breaking my heart, Shawty. You don't have control of your own thoughts.
Again, there are laws that can be put in place.
Do you have
when
control
too many
of your
black
thoughts?
people convene in one area,
Holleigh,
does the white man not come and break that up?
The definition of liberation is freedom of thought. Okay, cool. I got you.
The freedom of thought or behavior.
Don't hog my time on Holleigh. Holleigh, listen, I know you a robot, but you got to take the batteries out just for 1 minute. Please, listen. The other part of the definition say that liberation is have freedom of behavior. Do you have freedom to choose and control your behavior? Yes or no?
Absolutely not.
What? You don't have freedom for your behavior?
Absolutely not.
Holleigh, so it's
so you're telling me that we have the ability to behave anyway,
it's becoming more than
that we want to without
give me my time.
There being any consequences.
Do you have control of your behavior, or do the white man control you?
Time. All right, shout out to both debaters. We're going to go ahead and close this thing out, family. This is the Solar Vision Debate League.
Yeah.
Vainglorious vanguard.
Knowledge born.
Yeah.
United front. What you want, what you want, what you want.
To the Knowledge Radio.
We in here. What you got? Dot.
Work hard as a slave to one day be your savior. The wave unwavering. This is a labor of love. Rise with a purpose every day. Invigorated. If we were on TV, we'd be 10 times syndicated. If we waited for validation, a paycheck or accolades, we'd be starved, already lost or ran away. But when you're square solid and you circle too, you don't need a place for silence. The concept is conquered through media, not areas of people activity. A mix that don't lose ethnicity, tightness that don't lose elasticity. Explicitly, this isn't where we give the novice regard. Nah, this is where knowledge is born. Last time that I checked, I'm undefeated. Deliver edicts, can't resist when the gods build and manifest freedom. When lines get crossed, they may push a loss, cause they get handed a check. We kick the can and cancel your cancerous gestures. A prophet vision, precision, the prescription for the sickness is to inoculate your fate with the winning. Arrogant beginnings turn to humble endings. And UF with KBA is a win-win. 1K, 1K.
This is the Solar Vision Debate League, and we are closing this thing out, family. We're going to start out with Rio. Rio, you have 5 minutes to close out whenever you're ready.
Cool. So, in this debate, I just want to go over some things. Thank y'all for tuning in. My premise for the judges and ladies and gentlemen was that Black people have continually made progress right here in the United States in liberation without having to resort to a mass exodus. We have to not gloss over the fact that that's exactly what we're talking about here. We're not talking about one person or two people, these isolated pockets of people that travel to live in other places, because that's not nothing unique to Black people. White people do it too. And I even gave you examples of a woman that has been living in overseas for 10 years. And she said even when she left, she still had to deal with white supremacy. She still had to deal with those things that she thought she left behind. She was woke up to the universal truth that the demonization of our people is not just confined within the borders of North America, but it's actually a worldwide phenomenon, and that your skin distinguishes you, your culture, who you are. You are a nation within a nation. Okay, I don't believe Black people have to leave here. It's subjective. Maybe you feel like they do. Okay, it works. If that's your thing, okay. But my stance is that we don't have to. We got too much at stake here, too much to claim right here. I showed you on the social, economic, mental, financial, political, the entertainment, the educational. These are indicators and markers of a liberated people. Let me explain to you. The sister just sit here and told you she doesn't think for herself. She doesn't even have control of her behavior. This speaks to a deeper degree of modification that has to happen, not just on these YouTube streets, but really in our real life, where we begin to see the gains of our people as inspiration and motivation to urge you.
If y'all love this Holleigh, y'all gonna love the next Holleigh. Going down right now on Solar Vision Debate League. I just put the link in the chat. We going to Solar Vision Debate League. Ahrataza versus Holleigh, man. I'll see y'all on the other side. Black Power. This has been another episode of the Argument League.